Good evening and welcome to the Budget and Finance Committee meeting for the FY27 budget hearings. Today is Monday, June 1st. It is now 6:13 p.m. Voting members present. To my right, I have Council President Giovanni Rodriguez. To my left, Council and Vice Chair of this committee, Vivian Marmol. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2022, this meeting of the Budget and Finance Committee is being conducted both in person and via remote participation. A reminder that persons who would like to listen or view this meeting while in progress may either attend here in the City Council chamber or use our Facebook or YouTube pages. A reminder that while this meeting is hybrid, I, Councilor Stephanie Infante, Chair of the Budget and Finance Committee, is requesting that all who will be coming before this committee for the hearings appear in person, unless there is an absolute emergency. At this time, can you please join me in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, councilors, we have new business item 228-26, proposed fiscal year 2027 municipal budget. We have with us today the schedule for this meeting is as goes. We have the opening statement and presentation from our capo, Ramona Ceballos, and we will hear from the Administration and Finance Division that is made up of the Office of Budget and Finance, the Comptroller's Office, the Purchasing Office, Information Technology, the Assessor's Office, Treasurer's Office, Tax Collector's Office, and Office of Personnel. We will also hear pertaining to the debt service, intergovernmental assessment, employee benefits, risk management, and other financing uses. At this point, I welcome our CAFO, Ramona Ceballos, to the podium.
Good evening, councilors.
Good evening.
Good evening, honorable members of the Budget and Finance Committee and residents of the City of Lawrence. I am pleased to present to you the FY27 budget. This was a very challenging budget to develop due to rising costs and limited revenue growth. Health insurance expenses increased by $1.8 million, or 11% over last year. In addition, debt service costs continue to rise as a result of the city's investment in the 2 new schools and a new police station, financed through approximately $134 million in borrowing, all without the benefit of a Prop 2.5 override or a debt exclusion. At the same time, revenue growth remains constrained by Proposition 2.5, and interest income has declined compared to the strong returns that we've been able to see over the last several years. Together, these factors have made it increasingly difficult to keep pace with rising costs while maintaining the services our residents rely on. Despite these challenges, the FY27 budget reflects responsible financial management and a commitment to preserving essential city services. Through careful planning and collaboration across departments, we have developed a balanced budget that meets our financial obligations while continuing to serve the needs of our community. Before we begin the budget discussion, I have a presentation that I'd like to share with you guys. But before I do that, I'd like to begin the budget discussion for the CAFO team. I want to recognize this outstanding team. Their daily hard work and professionalism keeps Lawrence financially stable. I am incredibly fortunate to work alongside an exceptional group of leaders. Each of them serves our employees, our residents, and departments with integrity. While their efforts often happen behind the scenes, their dedication ensures city services operate responsibly every single day. I want the council to know how valuable this team is to our organization. This is the CAFO team right here. I'm extremely proud of them, and they continue to work for the city and do a great job. I'd like to give you an overview of the various departments, if I may. The Comptroller's Office serves as the primary safeguard for the financial ledgers. The office is responsible for reviewing invoices, cash receipts, and requisition submissions to ensure that all municipal and school transactions comply with local, state, and federal regulations. Responsible for preparing financial reports to the state and assists with outside auditors in our audit. This department processes about 34,563 invoices compared to last year, which equates to $378,155,000. The payroll department is responsible for processing the payroll of approximately 35 to 4,000 employees across the city and school. They ensure employees' salaries are in line with executed contracts and salary tables, as well as providing timely tax and compliance reporting such as W-2s and 941s for the state. Purchasing. The purchasing department is responsible for overseeing and administering the city's procurement and public contracting processes in accordance with Mass General laws. This includes the oversight and administration of city contracts, coordination and support of numerous requests for RFPs, invitations for bids, letters of interest related to public safety, infrastructure developments, and operational services. The IT department. The informational technology department is in charge of all computer-related issues for the city. It can range from hardware purchases like laptops, desktops, providing technical assistance to all city staff and departments, and maintaining the safety of all of our data. The assessor's office is responsible for fair market assessment of all real and personal property within the city, following the guidelines established by Mass General laws and the revenue of local assessment. Overall, second page. Treasurer's office / tax collectors. This department serves as the central financial engine and cash manager for the city, responsible for the collection, secure deposits, strategic investment, and disbursements of all municipal funds. This department is divided in two, the tax collectors and the treasurer's office. The tax collector's office is primarily responsible for the efficient collection, recording, and posting of all municipal revenues. The treasurer's office functions as the city's principal cash and portfolio manager, overseeing all city funds. Office of Personnel or Human Resources. This department manages the city's workforce. Is tasked with developing and executing an employee handbook, policy, dealing with labor relations, assisting with collective bargaining agreements, and managing the employee benefits plans. This is a brief overview of what the various departments do within the CAFO team. Basically, for the CAFO departments, it was a level-funded budget with the exception of contractual obligations in the salary. And in the IT department, there's a slight increase, mainly due to costs related to software, hardware, and equipment leasing and printers. These costs, unfortunately, have gone up, so we had to increase the line items in the IT department. In the assessor's office, there is an increase in real estate and personal property valuation services. I just want to take you to that page in the budget book, if I may.
What page is it?
The overall administration and finance is on page 29. You'll be able to see the various departments and the overall change.
And you're specifically bringing our attention to the assessor's office, if I heard correctly?
I'm sorry?
You're specifically bringing our attention to the assessor's office?
So these are the two major departments that had a higher increase other than the contractual obligations and salaries. Mm-hmm. So if you look at the fourth department, the information technology, you will see an increase in purchase of services, and it's mainly the different software and hardware subscriptions that the city has. And the Department of IT is responsible for paying for all the subscriptions within the different softwares. For example, Munis, our ERP system, City Hall systems used by the different departments, and the different leases and increases in various equipment purchases and maintenance. And then the assessor's office, right under it, the increase you'll see in professional services is mainly to a renewed contract with the companies that do our evaluation and assessment for the properties.
Thank you, Cathal. What I'm going to do, I'm going to have every director from the department come up.
Sure.
Reintroduce themselves. I know you mentioned there's only two major changes within the entire financial division, but we rarely get some of the directors in front of us, so I think this is a great opportunity to also hear from them what has worked, what hasn't, and I'm sure you've already heard this, but any advice for the future when we are able to either extend whatever it may be, just to keep that in mind, not just for these counselors, but for the future council as well.
Absolutely. We
Thank
can
you.
start, we can go in the order that you have it there, page 29, and that will be the comptroller's office. I have Marlene at assistant comptroller.
Thank you. Which, by the way, did an excellent job once again last year.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good
Welcome.
evening, honorable counselors. Marlene Checo, Assistant Comptroller, 200 Commons Street. So I am here to present the budget for the Comptroller's Office. The Comptroller's Office entails the payroll department as well. Ramona already alluded that the majority of our changes were salary contractual. I would like to note that we had some moving around of our funds for FY27. So we had a decrease to our employee training. We moved that funding over to the operating supplies because, as you guys can imagine, the costs for paper has gone up, ink, and so we felt it would be better suited for ordering envelopes, checks, the postage, and everything that we need in terms of being able to process the checks for the vendors and employees as well. And I don't know if you had any particular questions for us regarding.
Counselors, do you have any questions for the comptroller's office, for the assistant comptroller, or any questions that our CAFO can answer? No questions?
On page 32 specifically?
Yeah, on this
32
office
and 33.
specifically. Yep. I do see a decrease, and if you've already went over this, I apologize. I have a lot in my head at the moment, but assistant comptroller, your salary went down, and also payroll manager. Were those funds rearranged, or what happened there?
Yeah, so we definitely wanted to be transparent with what we're actually making. So I started at a lower step than my predecessor. My predecessor was assistant comptroller for, I think, over 20 years, so she was at a higher salary. And that is my actual rate, and that also includes my contractual increase for next year. And it's the same case for the payroll manager. So he is starting at a step one. His predecessor was there for a bit more time. And so we wanted to reflect actual salaries.
Thank you. CAFO, is this a practice that your department is only doing, or are we seeing this across the city? Because
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
is this a practice, is this being practiced throughout across the board within city departments, or is this something that your department is being transparent about?
We try to reflect what the salary currently is, and also, as we had discussed, we are assuming a 2.5% increase for all non-union, and I just want to be clear on that going forward with all departments. So yes, that is something we try to do, and that's why you'll see some salaries decrease versus some increasing. It's not so much that we're bringing people's salary down, it's just that people, when they're new, they start at a lower grade, and so we just wanted to reflect that.
Okay, thank you. Councilors, any other questions or comments?
Oh, one comment.
Council Marmol.
Given that information that you're mentioning, is that also a reflection as to why the increase to the payroll director? So like two positions
you guys minimize your pay in order to have this one specific position to have the balance left over of the reduction of those two positions to be added to this one position?
It was not
If it makes
for.
sense what I just said.
Makes perfect sense. It was not for that reason. I started at a lower step because I don't have as much time as my predecessor, and so did the payroll manager. But the increase to the payroll director's position was a contractual agreement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Elaborate a little bit further, because when it comes to significant pay increases to positions, this is going to be a question that I will be asking across the board, regardless of the department, because I'm intrigued on whether is this a position, did this person hold this position already for quite some time, and we're just figuring out that, we're trying to negotiate what their salary is, or we're following the 2.5% or 3% COLA?
Yeah. It is. Oh, yeah.
I'm not trying to confuse anybody.
No,
Okay.
that's all right. So this particular position, it's a combination of two things. It's a contractual obligation. So this particular position is a contract position. So this is per the contract that was what was that agreed upon, and that is the person that is currently there now has a new contract. So
Okay.
that's what the reflection of that is.
Okay.
Thank you. Careful, I'm assuming the comptroller couldn't make it tonight.
Right.
Okay. I don't believe she was here last year either.
I don't recall.
I'm pretty sure. If in the future she can make it, that would be great, but I do appreciate the assistant comptroller being here for in her place. Thank you.
Definitely.
Any other questions or comments for the comptroller's office? Seeing none, I do have to say, and within my meetings that I have with the CAFL in preparation for the budget hearings, I will give our comptroller a shout out, although she's not, I wish she was here to hear it, but she's always in a meeting, always working. I had to pop, I think it was her birthday last time I was there. Was it her? Yeah.
was, yes.
Yeah, and she was in the middle of this intense meeting. I'm like, hi. So I do appreciate the work that she does.
No, she's great. She's my right hand, and she's been with the city for over 20-something years.
Right.
So she's an amazing asset to our organization for sure.
Thank you. Okay, so we have the next office.
I'll be purchasing.
Purchasing. Purchasing. Our
Could they say-
purchasing officer, we have Rosanna de Rosario. I'm sorry?
Could every department, when they come before us, say what page?
Oh, yeah, can you just, hi, can you mention the page that you're?
Hi, good evening, councilors. So my budget is out of page 34.
Okay.
And good evening again. Rosana del Rosario, purchasing agent for the city of Lawrence, 200 Common Street, Lawrence. And again, my budget is on page 34. And the only change for FY27 is going to be the contractual increases of our salaries. Everything else is staying the same.
Okay. Counselors, any questions or comments for our purchasing officer?
I have
Counselor
a
Marmo.
question, but it's going to be more for the CAFL. Mr. Valles. Oh, okay, my mic is on. When we're going through these contracts, what comes into play when making the determination? Like, how do you what is the formula, and how do these figures come about when we're going through these contract negotiations?
Sure. These two positions within the purchasing department are in the supervisor's union. So this is a union position. They have a salary scale that decides, where they're at. They have different steps within each grade. So depending on where the steps falls, that dictates the salary for that
Okay.
particular position.
All right, I'm gonna be doing this for every department, so.
That's okay.
Because I want to make sure that we are justifying, making sense, and also stating for the record, like, why these changes, why this increase. A lot of folks don't understand how budget works, and, at the end of the day, we have to,
Yep.
we have to answer the questions of
Some
why.
positions, some departments are a little more complicated because they have various situations. They would have non-union and they would have various unions within
Which is why I will
the
be asking the
departments.
same
Yes,
question
so
for
in this
different
particular
departments.
case, they're both in the same union, which is the supervisors union.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. I'm all set, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Council President.
To you, CAFO. Through you, Madam Chair, to the CAFO. Just going over to what you just said, when I look at the salary increase on those two positions, one of them have it looked like a percentage that is it looked like a 2.5, perhaps, I don't know, maybe, but the other one it's looked like a 5%, perhaps. So is it a step? And
Yes, so exactly.
and-
So this
okay.
particular position, it's a combination of both a step increase and
Okay, I got
a
it.
COLA increase.
I think.
I have a quick question/comment for our purchasing officer. You recently, this has nothing to do with the budget, but I think this is important, and I'm glad that this was sent, but you recently sent an email about the modification to the RFP process. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that came about?
Okay, so, I'm sorry. First of all, I would like to mention that Angeli Bisono, which is my assistant, is here in the room, also supporting our budget presentation tonight. So when I came into this role over a year ago, it was Angeli who had to kind of fit me into whatever she was used to doing with the prior person that was in the position. We both knew that there was not much that she knew about specifically what the prior purchasing agent was doing. So we kind of had to combine the department into the two of us pretty much doing all that it has to do with the
Supporting one
department
another,
to
right,
support
right.
the whole city. We have to deal with all the procurement process throughout the whole city and also support some of the school. So I started to notice that when it comes to the request for proposals, I will prepare the packages and send it to the departments, and they will evaluate only the technical proposal, and then I will keep the price proposals. So they will select the vendor that they seem more advantageous for the city, but then I was pretty much stuck with the prices, so I will put just the prices along with their decision and bring it to the mayor for the mayor to approve the contract. So by doing some research and also seeing that there was not a point of us comparing the technical part and the price portion of the submissions, so we decided that it was smart for us to just combine them both and just sit down throughout the whole process of how everything gets, discussed throughout the committee that gets into reading the technical proposal, and also me there or purchasing team there, saying, okay, so this is the price of this proposal. If this is a technical one that you like, but they're charging us the most, we may have to consider them, so that way we can kind of mitigate technical and price and combine them instead of just being stuck with a very advantageous proposal, but then also the highest one. Then we may have one that's also advantageous, but it's charging us a little less, so we can also save some money to the city.
So you can see it from the start to finish.
Yes.
And the reason, this is, to me at least, and maybe my counselors could agree, that's important. And as we're reviewing budgets for departments, it's also important to talk about, what do the departments do, right? And because this was so recent, and I remembered it, I actually have the email open right now. I was like, oh, this is a perfect opportunity to talk a little bit about that and how that came about, and how it's a positive thing for the city moving forward. So thank you for that.
No problem.
Counselors, any questions or comments? Seeing none. Thank you, Mrs. Del Rosario. Next, we have IT. IT. Director Castillo.
Good evening, councilors. Carlos Castillo, IT Director for the City of Lawrence, 200 Common Street. I'm here today to present the IT budget. It is challenging, I must say. You are going to see some increases. So the increases for salary, it's the 2%, 2.5%. There's some increase there. Now, on purchases of services, right? So I'm estimating that we went up 100 grand, 160 grand. As you know, things are changing. Things are costing more, and the city is growing big time. You know, we have a new police station that is not fully open. We have some IT services already that started to take into effect there. So that will make my budget increase. I'm still working with the same tools I came in 5 years ago. And I want to be blunt with you guys. Technology-wise, the city, it's moving, and it will get there. But once we have this restrictions, and I am very frugal when it comes to spending money. I don't buy things I don't need, and I have ways to prove it. I'm here to present this budget. So my budget in total increasing 173,000 with 142. And I don't know how it's going to go by the end of the year. So I'm hoping that if I run short, I could come down here and maybe request a level funded budget, because I might not make it, but I promise you I will try to maybe cut things that I'll find a way to work around it. But once we do that, and the information technology, we are not going to be effective on other services. But I just kind of wanted to put that on record that I might be coming back to you guys requesting fund if need to. As time progresses, I will find a way to work with what I have. If you guys have any questions.
Councilors, any questions for the IT department? Councilor Marmol.
Okay, so considering that the increase of 107,000 on other purchase and services, is that in correlation due to the new police station, or do you mind diving in a little bit deeper
No,
as to what does it entail?
So for instance, right, as we go forward, there's printers that have been added. The internet service has increased. So when I started, the city of Lawrence didn't even have a internet backup line. So we was just, if the internet goes out, we couldn't jump into another working internet. Now we do. So there's a lot of redundancy that I am creating in the IT infrastructure. That's why the prices is rising. So I got an extra backup internet. The leasing of the copiers, printers is increasing tremendously. We have been, adding more copiers citywide, just to kind of, help with the printing, even though we are trying to control the printing. We have, during this time, we also have acquired a couple of tooling, and that it's around $50,000. So that tool is gonna help us to have better management of the system, be more proactive whenever there is an alert, and this also tools that will help us with the cybersecurity.
Okay, and my second question is, if this budget is approved, where do you, because you just mentioned that you might have to come before us. This looks like it's
Maybe by the
like it's a
end,
budget
close.
that's not really gonna work for your department. So what line item or what section within your department do you feel that it's going to be the reasoning for putting your department at a deficit?
So let's say the main connection, but most of my items are other purchase and services, and I have the different line items. The main internet for the new police station, which is also going to take effect in a couple of months, that's going to rank up $13,000. We're going to add more copiers and printing over there. That's going to be around another $50,000. Then the licensing fees for the software and all that. That's where I see that we might have the increase. So, but like I said, that's more towards maybe the end of.
So, quick question, Kafo, and maybe you could answer this as well. So is this budget not projecting the needs of this new police station that's about to open up? Or, it's not, is it not factoring in the potential need?
Right. So I'm going to kind of touch base on not only the IT side of the new police station, but also overall when we come to the police station, you'll see we don't know exactly how everything's going to work in the new police station, right? We don't know. I know it's going to be additional costs in electricity, heat, water, and so forth. We don't know how much. So we are getting an estimate. Once we have an idea, maybe 6 months down the line or 8 months, depending on the season, then we'll be able to identify. We might need a whole year, a whole year's worth of operation to see what the actual cost is. So the same with IT. We're estimating an increase due to that, but there might be other things that were not foreseen that we might need to increase come, let's say, December or, January, February. So that's what the IT director is referring to. We do have money within the police project, the money that we borrowed, that we might be able to tap into. So there's a lot of unknowns right now, and we estimated the best we could with the information that we had at the time.
Okay. All set, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Council President.
Yes, I have a couple of questions for the IT department. Two things. I noticed that the state new regulations when it comes to scanning documents have changed. Tell me a little how prepared we are when it comes to make that change of not much to the extent that we used to have it before when it comes to scanning documents.
I'm actually looking at that right now.
But and then we have an issue.
No, we actually looking at that, and as you know, Council President, you see me roaming around. I have a lot on my plate too. But I promise you, I'll look into that, and whatever we need to do to be in compliance, I'll make sure it gets done ASAP.
All right. I hope for your answer. You also have a cybersecurity position here. Tell me more.
I am in need of a cybersecurity person because I'm doing that as well myself. I have, gone out there, talked to other municipalities in terms of the range that we have here for cybersecurity, and the response is, is there. I'm hoping this year to fill it, but it's not attractive to the people that are doing cybersecurity nowadays.
Because, that's what I was going to say. Last year you told me the same.
I don't have a straightforward answer, to be honest with you.
I just trying to be.
But this year, I'll put it out there. And my, Council President, my fear is, based on this salary, I don't want to get someone that I will have to do the job. I will still have to keep doing the cybersecurity myself.
Got it.
Now, and to really get a good candidate, $100,000 is not going to cut it. Then you can ask around. $100,000 is not going to cut it for a good cybersecurity guy. And for me to bring in somebody that I will have to do that job, I'm sorry. I'll just keep running the way I am running, doing it myself, and we call it a day and save that money to the city.
All right, no problem. Thank you so much.
Director Castillo, continue with the salary, personnel section. 3, you have all 3 technician positions filled currently?
Yes,
Okay. And the total, the FY27 recommendations is 213,000. Is that an even 71,000 for each tech?
it's around there, yes.
Well, what is around there?
Let me see, I don't have that number here.
Okay. Do you have that?
The exact number. I
Okay,
know there's,
that's
because the three texts are combined.
It's fine.
So the 3 of them are combined.
Yep,
So
yep,
the
that's
only,
fine.
the network, the network administrator and myself, we are just on a separate line.
Okay. So going back to the cybersecurity. Say we go another fiscal year without filling this. Right now, from what I heard, I'm only speaking for myself. I'm seeing that that's something that I would want to cut. Because if we're not gonna fill it, and if it's not attractive, then let's cut it out of the budget until we're able to actually come up with a salary range that is attractive. That's what I'm thinking right now. Could change my mind when we're at the full council meeting. But I don't see a need of continuing to have it here if it's not gonna be filled.
So is it for next year or for?
For this, I mean, I'm talking about
Now?
20, yeah. Do you believe, is there, and I know you mentioned that it's unattractive, but
Well,
is there any chance, any slight chance that we could this year?
There is a possibility, but I will have to do my due diligence to find and have that opportunity to find a good candidate that really has a good understanding of cybersecurity.
Well, I mean, with the workforce, today's workforce, you may be able to find someone who's really looking for a job, so, all right.
Yep. Okay.
All right, thank you. Any other questions or comments for the IT department? Seeing none, thank you so much, Director
Thank you,
Castillo.
Councilors.
Next, we have the Assessor's Office. Can we have the Chief Assessor, Alexi Vega?
Good evening, Councilors. Alexi Vega, Chief Assessor, 200 Common Street, Room 103. Before I begin, I'd like to use this opportunity to personally thank my staff for an amazing job they do. They do year in and year out. They come to work hard, to attend the taxpayers for whatever needs they may have, whether it's a senior, whether it's a regular taxpayer for a motor vehicle excise. They always go above and beyond. And secondly, I'd like to thank the administration and the CAFO for supporting the FY27 budget. As you'll notice that there is no staffing increase for the assessors' proposed FY27 budget. However, there are increases in some of the line items, and I'll lead you guys to page 38 of the city's budget. So the mayor's FY27 recommended budget for the assessor's office is $607,432, representing an increase of $60,352, or 11%, over FY26 approved budget of $547,080. By category, personnel services in FY27, the budget was $363,080, and the recommended budget is $377,132, which is an increase of $14,052. And I'll go line by line item throughout the presentation. Purchase of services, $2,500, and for FY27 is no change, so remained level funded there. Professional services, last year, the budgeted amount was $178,600. For FY27, we do have a new contract with a new vendor, and I'm proud to say that there is not going to be any loss of professional services. This is a professional outfit that does appraisals throughout the country. They're #1 ranked in the country. So we use their software currently, which is the Vision Appraisal software, and they're bringing in their team to assist us with the DOR requirements. And that increase because of salaries and because of the increase in permits and just the unknowns. This is a new company that's coming into the city. They've done appraisal work privately in their own companies, but they don't do it anymore. But they are familiar with the city of Lawrence. But they, we've interviewed them, and they know what they're getting into. But, the increase of permits, the new growth that we're seeing out there where mill building converges to apartments. They're going to hit the boots on the ground July 1. So they can't start till July 1. So I look forward to working with them. That increase is $46,300. And I'll get into their,
Can you repeat, they're an appraisal company, is that what you said?
correct. So RRC Real Estate is no longer doing business. Everyone has retired. But they've been with the city for over 25 years. And good luck to them in their retirement, and well-deserved. For supplies, small office, but we do send out a bunch of mailings to taxpayers. So last year's budget was $1,600. FY27 remains the same as $1,600, so no change. Other charges and expenses, $1,300, again, remains the same, so no change there. But overall, total budget did increase by $60,352, and I'll get into that with our next categories with personnel services, which was budgeted at $377,132, an increase of $14,052 from FY26, as our CAFO mentioned. This is an increase primarily attributable to recently negotiated collective bargaining agreements affecting the department's 3 union positions. The salary adjustments reflects contractual obligations under those agreements and assure a city remains compliant with negotiated wage provisions. Specific, if you want me to get into specific, I don't mind, with our salaries and titles. Specific salary changes include the chief assessor, an increase of $6,570, 2 assessors combined increase of $7,482, and our assistant assessor with no change. She's fairly new. This is going to be her first year. And when she first started, it was tough to negotiate. There is no negotiating with the clerical union. You start at the bottom, grade 15, step 1. No matter about your education, your training, your background, that's what you start at. Unlike the supervisors union, where you can negotiate to the 3rd step. So you can start at, grade, say they're grade 22, step 3, and move on from there. Unfortunately, I didn't have that ability with our new assistant assessor, who's fantastic, by the way. So there is no change in her salary. Again, union negotiations, not much you or I can do to help them, but hopefully they can negotiate a stronger contract moving forward. The department's longevity payment remains unchanged. There are two positions that qualify for the longevity. Combined, Maria and myself, we have over 50 years of experience in the assessor's office. So consistent with the prior fiscal year. The clothing and uniform allowance remains level funded. That's again for the clerical position that's union negotiated at $400. The bigger ticket item is professional services. Represents the most significant budget increase for FY27. The appropriation rises from $178,600 to $224,900, an increase of $46,300. This increase is associated with the renewal of the department's 3-year professional services contract with vision appraisal software from fiscal year 2027 to 2029. There's a 3-year adjustments, no reval until 2030. So we'll see what happens then. Vision Appraisal Services provides critical assessment and evaluation support that assists the city in meeting Massachusetts Department of Revenue certification requirements and maintaining accurate property valuation data. Other budget increases, again, pretty small. Actually, they were all level funded: employee training, office supplies, operating supplies, in-state travel, and dues and memberships. These appropriations are considered sufficient to support the ongoing departmental operations without requiring additional funding for FY27. And closing, the FY27 Assessor's Office budget reflects a continued commitment to maintaining accurate, fair, and equitable property assessments while providing high-quality service to the residents of Lawrence. By sustaining staffing levels and supporting necessary contractual obligations, including professional appraisal services, and negotiated wage adjustments, the department remains equipped to meet its statutory responsibilities and evolving operational needs. These investments strengthen the city's ability to maintain a reliable tax base, ensure compliance with the state assessment standards, and support long-term fiscal stability. The Assessor's Office appreciates the continued support of the Mayor, CAFO, and again, Lawrence City Council, and looks forward to continuing its mission of servicing the community and professionalism, accuracy, and integrity. And with that, I'd like to also mention that I did bring a ton of information in case you had any questions. I do have hard copies of documents. And I urge folks watching online to visit the assessor's website. The IT department does an amazing job helping us maintain a up-to-date database. So you can visit us at www.cityoflawrence.com. You'll see a bunch of our forms, our missions, anything on excise, exemptions, abatements, deadlines, to assist folks that obviously we have not enough time to talk up here. So
Thank you. I quickly want to say thank you to the assessor's office for supporting my sweets, my chocolate addiction, because every single time the city clerk is out of chocolate, you're the office I go to. My real office has a stash, so thank you for that. I appreciate it. Council President.
Oh, well, Madam Chair, through you. I have a couple of questions for the assessor department, but before I go to the questions, a specific question on the department. You mentioned one specific, and you say new growth. How much is going to be for this year?
we're anticipating and propose for this budget of $1.4 million.
$1.4 million for the fiscal year 2027. So I want to say,
All right, so Ramona is challenging the assessor's office, and we have boots on the ground, so it's going to be $1.5 million. And I think, and I've been very conservative with our numbers, and I think we can meet that goal. One of the major reasons why we increased it over the proposed in the past, which was roughly about $1.2 million, is because we did receive a significant increase in new equipment from Eversource. We were out in the field on Friday. They reported over $45 million in new equipment. The problem that I had with their forms is that when they reported it, it came back as personal property. And regardless, it is new growth. It's just that it was not personal property. These things are fixed. These are huge tanks and equipment in a new building. So that is brand new real estate. And that's where you want to see your growth. Not necessarily in the personal property because, for instance, councilors, you replace the entire chamber. So the countertops, the chairs, you replace that. That had value in it. When we report these new chairs and desks to the state, they consider it 100% new growth. But remember, there is a diminished value there. So let's say the old equipment was $5,000 and we increased your new equipment to $50,000. You would suspect that the net is $45,000 that you would increase. It's negative. We'd increase the entire amount. So very, very difficult to explain in personal property because we're picking up the entire amount. But the value didn't change that entire amount. So the taxpayers, let's say the folks behind me, we would pick up that other difference. And the real estate portion of the Eversource is real estate. So that's why I feel comfortable that the new growth that we proposed in the budget of $1.5 million, we would hit that mark or exceed it. But we'll be back before you in November when we do the tax rate.
that's a good thing and a bad thing as well because the tax will increase more to everybody. So it's like a...
And I agree with you 100%. You're increasing the levy, you're increasing the tax base for everybody. However, that $1.5 million, I will assure you the biggest piece that's going to pick up that burden is Eversource. And I hate to mention people's name, but it's the facts. It's, they're the ones that reported the amount to us, and I just report it back to you.
Yep.
It's
Alright.
not certified, but yeah, they'll be picking up the bigger burden. We'll be picking up a smaller difference.
Okay, perfect. Well, I wanted to say a few things, considering the fact that your department have such an important value to the city and to the city council as well, because the minute takers are from your department, so we definitely appreciate the fact that they're doing all the work that they're doing for the city council, keeping up with the minutes and keeping up with everything that we need to deal with here. That is an extremely important fact that we recognize. So trust me, we definitely recognize the work that your department dealing with everything you need to deal, and also taking the time to come over and help us out is greatly appreciated. So thank you, both of the Marias.
Being aware sometimes they leave really late, and the fact that they're not behind in their day job, it speaks volumes, so.
Yep. So we've seen here that we have an increase on professional services, and that's to the fact that we're using a new software to do the evaluation of the properties, correct?
Correct.
That's what I reflect in my notes. So I just want to make sure I get the notes as to why we have $46,000 an increasement on that side. All right, no more questions. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? One quick question, Chief Assessor. Can you give us an example of what an in-state travel looks like for your department?
In-state travel, basically, we have to maintain our MAA designation, and there might be courses in Boston, Worcester, Springfield, and we have to drive, and we take our own, our personal vehicles to get to and from. And sometimes we carpool, and sometimes we just can't leave the office empty. We always have to have an assessor there, so we'll probably send one to one place, and if there's availability online, we go to the online courses, and if it's free, it's for me. So I let my staff try to attend most of those courses.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Before we move to the next department, Kafo, speaking of city vehicles, I know for a fact you have the IT department has a city vehicle. Where are those expenses and responsibilities reflected in the budget?
So that's part of one of my items for tonight. It's going to
Perfect.
be, yep.
Ignore my question then.
We'll talk about that.
All right, let's keep it moving. Next, we have the treasurer's office.
Good evening, counselors, and thank you for having me here representing the Treasurer Collector's FY 2027 budget. So I also want to send a special thank you to my staff. As you guys know, we are behind the scenes, but what we do in our offices is extremely critical for the city's financials. Even though we are behind the scene, it plays a critical role in keeping the city running every day. The Treasurer and Collector's offices are responsible for managing the city's finances, safeguarding public funds, collecting revenue, maintaining cash flow, and ensuring that the resources needed to support city services are available when needed. Excuse me. I'm kind of recovering from a cold, so. Is there any line item you want to touch specifically, or you just want me to go over the items on here?
Yeah, go over.
Okay.
Would you like some water before we proceed?
Yes, please.
Yes. Maria, is it okay if you grab some water, please? Oh,
Thank you.
thank you. Let's just get. Maria, never mind. The couple had one. Maria, do you mind grabbing her? Thank you.
Seems like every time I come up here, I'm recovering from some sort of cold. I don't know. It's you guys stress me out. Just kidding.
I mean,
Just
you know.
We're cool.
No, sometimes.
You've been cool to me, so
Sometimes,
thank you. I
sometimes,
appreciate it.
sometimes.
So for FY 2027, the recommended budget for the Treasurer's Division, as you can see, totals a $384,925. That is actually a decrease from prior year, and the recommendation reflects a careful effort to control operating costs while continuing to support the staff and financial oversight functions that are essential to the city's fiscal stability. One of the, obviously, the biggest changes are going to be under purchase of services. And as Marlene has stated earlier, we kind of reviewed the budget, ensuring that we're no longer just level funding it, that we're actually looking at what we're actually spending year over year, and taking that into consideration. And obviously, IT needed my money, so that's where it went.
Question?
Council President.
Through you, Madam Chair, I would like to just express my happiness due to the fact that your department is very hard work, and they're not in the back, they're in the front. So they're the one that receive the people that come with a check, that actually fight, not fight, but explained and hear people's frustration.
Yeah.
And that's one of the toughest part of a municipal work.
Yes,
When
I
you
agree.
need to deal with the public that are frustrated for something that they think that is wrong, but is not, and they have a justification based on something that you guys were made aware at the 3 months prior. We pass an ordinance here that this is how we're gonna charge the public, and then you guys need to deal with it.
Yeah.
And then it's something that is extremely important for the city to maintain the level of professionalism and knowledge, obviously. Prepping everybody is a key, and that never end. So me seeing, if I see a budget that include some type of training for your departments, that's one of the departments that needed the most, because that's something that you're dealing with people every day. It's no way around it. I mean, otherwise it wouldn't be a function, basically, because it's a combination between the two departments.
Yeah.
And I think that that's very important. And I highly appreciate the fact that you guys both, the three of you, the CAFO, you and the personnel director went to the MMA conference. Being part of those type of conference, it's good to many things, but I mean just the network portion of it is important. So definitely, I was very happy to see
Thank you.
all of you guys.
And I appreciate
Boston.
you saying that as well. I know our office is not an office that you hear when we're doing something. You usually hear when we don't do something. So when someone doesn't get paid, when a vendor doesn't have their check on time, when people are not getting their bills. So expressing your gratitude, I appreciate it. Thank you.
No, definitely, it's very important. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
See,
So-
we're not that bad.
No, I'm just kidding. So we can move on to the collectors. As you know, my department is split into two critical components for the city. So on the tax collector's office, though there is no increase, the majority of the increases are due to collective bargaining agreement as well as contractual agreements.
Councilors, any questions or comments?
I have
Council
one
President.
last question. So I was thinking when we have the assessor's office and your office, that they need to work together. Because
Yes.
they assess what you charge, what you actually receive. So essentially, there is deadlines that are between the two departments that are very important. In those deadlines, it's very confusing. I have asked you before to kind of share with us deadlines coming up so people don't get those demands if they're not aware. Just because they were not aware. If they late, but just because they're not aware, sometimes it's tough. So both of your departments have printing and mailing.
Yeah.
So I think that at some point, some type of deadline card need to be printed out and put on each department's mail.
We have created an insert, and we're hopeful to have this insert go out with the July 1st bill. We're just waiting for approval from the administration. I'd be glad to share that with you. In addition, we have some frequently asked questions online as well. the residents can visit our website as well. But I think having that insert, it'll be double-sided. It's going to go into details about every aspect of what we bill, what we collect, what is the due dates, will be extremely important and informational. So we're looking to have it mailed out with the July 1st as well as the third quarter bill that goes out in January.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think that, some people, I think that those bills that, that go from the assessor's office, people open it. Because otherwise they're going to get the extra money. So, I mean, and those are mails that people are looking for
Yeah.
to open. So, high profile mails, it's important to take advantage of.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I would like to add to the compliment that Council President gave this office. So I was in your office a month ago, 2 months ago maybe, paying a tax bill for my home on behalf of my mother, and I got excellent service. And that is something, and it's not because of who I am, because I was watching how they were interacting with other people, and it was really nice to see, as I don't visit the office often. However, my mom does, and she also speaks highly, and I'm sure your staff members don't know who my mom is.
Yeah.
So to hear that consistently from the office is nice. So I also appreciate the work that you guys do there. But I do have a question, budget related. Can you remind me of, this is under the treasurer's office budget, what lease payments we're making?
Yeah, so the lease payment is for the Pitney Bowes mailing machine. So basically, we mail out all the AP, any payroll, and other departments also use the mailing machine, so it's for postage for any mail that goes out internally.
Okay, and then the service bureau property tax.
Yeah. So that's a combination of several different vendors. So on there, we have City Hall Systems, which we actually pay on behalf of the taxpayers' online services. So the e-checks, anytime someone wants to make an electronic payment, it costs 25 cents. The city actually picks that up. But if they're making a payment with a credit card, unfortunately, we can't pick that up, because that's 3% of what they're paying, and we just don't know how much they're gonna pay. We also pick up, Kelly and Ryan. That's obviously the mailing of excise, and there's obviously other fees associated with it. And then Kirkwood is also the mailing and printing as well. So a portion of it, we had to put it in the treasurer's department to kind of compensate for some of the incorrect entering of invoices that took place over the year. But normally that would be under the tax collector's side. And then we also have the registry of deed, which is anytime there's the property that's in tax title and they're looking to redeem it, we actually upfront the cost for that, and then the person reimburses us for that.
And what is an example of something that would need to be advertised from your office?
So we would need to advertise anything that we're looking to lien. So for instance, as you are aware, there was an act that passed back in 2024, the Home Equity Theft Act, which basically prolongs a little bit of our process for tax title. But prior for us to the city liening any property, we actually need to advertise it in a local newspaper. We've always, in the past, we've used Eagle Tribune, but throughout the years, we've actually gotten proposals from other different media sources, so we've been able to cut the cost a little bit on that aspect.
And that's why we're seeing a decrease of 5,000 here? Okay. Okay. And then the same question to you as the Chief Assessor's Office. Give us an example of an in-state travel for your office.
Of course. So my office, actually, as a collector, treasurer collector, I'm part of the Massachusetts Collector Treasurer Association, as well as I can have some of my staff attend some of their training. So they'll be in Devens, Amherst, anywhere within the state, so we'll fund for any mileage reimbursements.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, next we have Office of the Personnel. Dun, 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 we just spoke earlier today.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Director Garcia.
Carol Garcia, Personnel Director, 200 Common Street. I'm happy to walk you through the personnel budget this evening, which is just a difference of about a net of $33,000. The most important thing to note is that we're not adding any new staff, and the majority of the increase has to do with contractual salary obligations and also other salary increases. It's also, I'd like to note that we are requesting a new position which is the Assistant Director of Personnel to be funded. Eventually, we will be before you in order to create it, obviously, and therein lies the $33,000.
Okay, walk us through the need for an assistant personnel director.
Absolutely. So the City of Lawrence Personnel Department currently consists of, as you know, 3 staff members, essentially, plus our benefits coordinator. So that would be myself, that's my confidential secretary, and the personnel aide. We're responsible for servicing approximately 600 municipal employees across over 10 departments, and that's including about 10 to 12 collective bargaining units as well. So our responsibilities include workers' compensation, FMLA, administration, 111F injuries on the line of duty, grievances, administration, recruitments, benefits, civil service compliance, job descriptions, and now, as I've instituted, quarterly trainings for citywide employees. The Society for the Human Resource Management benchmark states that HR staffing should be 1.5, 1.7 professionals per 100 employees. For a workforce, as the City of Lawrence currently has just about 600, that number suggests that there should be a minimum of 9 staff members. Like I said before, we're 3. So we're operating this department. When the department was created, as you know, the city was much smaller. So we were servicing a smaller amount of employees. The workload was lighter. Things have changed considerably. Comparable communities across Massachusetts have recognized this need. Just next door, Methuen created a position back in 2025 for the exact same reason. They needed the additional assistance across a wide variety of HR functions. We're asking for one position, and it's important to note that we are not necessarily funding a new, funding the position in its entirety. So what I'm saying is that we're not going to backfill the confidential secretary position. So there goes the $33,000. That's why we're able to create a new position and not necessarily add $104,000 to a budget, or so along those lines.
Can you explain that again?
Yes, absolutely. So our confidential secretary will not be funded. If you look at our line item under confidential secretary, that's not going to be funded. So we're moving the money from confidential secretary, from that bucket, that's what I like to call it, from that bucket to the assistant director position, so that we're not necessarily creating an issue with the budget, as we know that we have to be fiscally responsible, particularly in FY27 with all of the financial constraints that multiple municipalities are facing. If I may have 1 second. So we're asking for this one position, an assistant director of personnel, to ensure that department can continue to meet its legal obligations, serve our employees, and protect the city from the very real risk that come with an overwhelmed HR function. It's not an expansion. It's really, truly a correction at this point. Given that SHROOM, that's what I call them, it's the Society for Human Resource Management, I call them SHROOM. They're stating that we should have at least 9. I have a department that only has 3, and that's including myself.
So, okay, so I'm trying to grasp to understand. So, the data shows or recommends that a municipality to our size should have at least a total of 9
That's correct.
Personnel employees. and we have 3, we're trying to justify for a new position, but we are taking, essentially, what I'm listening to and what I'm seeing from the numbers is that we're converting the confidential secretary position into the assistant position, which then will still lead us to 3, will keep us at 3 employees.
Well, as an assistant director, you have many more responsibilities.
Right.
One
right.
that a confidential secretary cannot fulfill.
Right, but what I'm saying is that your argument is that the personnel department is understaffed. But with the changes that are being proposed through the budget, it's still going to be 3 employees, is what I'm trying to say.
That's correct, but again, with different authorities.
Okay.
So if you have an assistant director that can sit in meetings, like, for example, this week, I have a full week of meetings. Just tomorrow, I have at least 3 to 4 meetings, at least 2 to 3 if it hasn't been canceled. I believe one was canceled, with unions. That person can sit in at least 2 of those meetings. As opposed to myself, I now have to sit in all 3 to 4 meetings at a time. So instead of being in my office and documenting those meetings, answering the grievances, answering the emails, and answering all of the other 10 unions, 12 unions that we're dealing with, I'm focusing on these meetings. We're also now, we've had a huge influx of reasonable accommodations. I'm only one person that has to deal with all the reasonable accommodations. All of the grievances, I'm the one that deals with them once they get to my desk. So it essentially would help reduce the workload to 2 people. Because right now, the position of my confidential secretary is exactly that. It's a secretarial position.
Right.
They have no authority to make any decisions, make any determinations. They can simply just sit in a room and take notes. Help me remember the things that I have to remember out of all the 5, 6 meetings that I had on that specific week.
Right. Okay. I'm sorry, I cut you off while you were just trying to.
No worries.
I was trying to make sure that I understood what you were explaining. Is there anything else you would like to add pertaining to your budget? No? Okay. Counselors, any questions or comments? I saw Counselor Marmel's hand first. Counselor Marmel?
I'm glad you touched on that because I was itching to ask when you mentioned and trying to describe the justification of this new position. So it does make sense, and I know you're busy considering what's been transpiring. So what I just want to make sure that I have clear is that eventually the confidential secretary position is a needed position. It's not, you're not saying that it's no longer, like it doesn't serve a purpose for your department.
Absolutely, you're absolutely correct. At some point, we are going to need a confidential secretary. Right now, we don't have the money, first and foremost, to be quite frank. And 2, we don't have the space. We've had to create a office space completely independent, and we had to essentially tear down a wall in order to have some additional space.
I think personnel should not be in this building. I think you guys should be a little island.
Somewhere off in the sunset.
They're already there.
Somewhere off in the sunset, please.
Only if the city council has a little section within that sunset of yours. Okay, so going back to my train of thought of this confidential secretary, your department, is it going to be able to survive with this change of, like, obviously this new position is going to be of tremendous help to you as it's going to kind of lighten the load and the burden that you currently have. But it's still a change nonetheless. So is that going to be like a challenge or some sort of deterrent to your department in not having the secretary?
I don't believe so.
Okay. The second question that I have is going on page 44, because I'm noticing under purchases and services, other departments don't have this. Could you run by the employee physicals? What does that mean? And what does that entail?
Of course. So when a new employee comes in, we send them out to perform drug examinations before they're employed. So that's where the employee physical portion comes into. If, for example, if they have to go, we usually use ExpressMed up in Salem. And also, if there has to be a fitness for duty examination, we can also use those funds as well.
Now I'm so intrigued.
I think,
Why is it that I don't see this across the board in every department?
No, because they don't have the need of physical. This department has it.
Every
Personnel
person that
needs
is, I'm so sorry to interrupt.
Employees.
No, go back.
Every person that's onboarded has to go get a drug test.
Oh, okay. All right. I was thinking just your department.
Oh, no.
Never mind.
but it goes
Wait,
through
what?
it goes
Whoever's
through the
coming through the
personnel.
doors.
I was like,
And in
What?
fact, it's part of our
You-
offer, our conditional offers of employment.
okay,
So if you don't successfully pass the drug examination, we can revoke your offer letter.
So the increase of 2,000, is it because of the increase of additional employees that were, that are like added onto this new budget?
Well,
Or is it that the fees had
the
increased to
fees
get these
having
done?
increased, and obviously there's been a number of vacancies, an increase in number of vacancies. So it's,
Okay. And then my last question is, other expenses, if you could just touch on what that means, and obviously there's increase in that line item as well.
yes, so other expenses could be, for example, MMA, dues, and so on and so forth. It really is, it's a bucket, where the other day, we're in a budget freeze, right, Madam Caffo? We had to pay water from there.
Okay. I'm all set.
Thank you, Council President.
Through you, Madam Chair. I see that this department perhaps is making a change without having a position that is being approved, and it's a little risky.
No, so what we intended on doing,
'Cause
that's why I started out with saying, eventually we will be in front of you. So we wanted to make sure that we got our table kind of set. We have the legs of the table essentially set. Because if we're not funded, there's no point of coming across you to even
No, what I'm saying is, we have a position that is not on the books, that is going to be proposed, that needs to be approved by the council, and it's a process for that to happen. Right now is June 1st. If this position is not finished, done, and posted by July 1st, so this person will be out of work.
No.
Explain it to me then.
So what we're hoping to do is that you fund the position so that we can later come in front of you in the ordinance committee.
But you're deleting one position. Am I right?
Well, if you don't, I mean,
No, I just want to be clear because you're deleting the position.
I get what
it
you
may
mean.
need-
So what the council president is saying is that right now, if this budget passes as is by June 27th, right now, that starting July 1st, there would be no confidential secretary.
Exactly.
Because there is, or no assistant personnel director, because this position has not been properly created
Posted.
or posted.
Right,
That's
so
what
this
you're trying to say.
is, this
And
is,
posted as well.
this will have the funding for the current position, so we will have additional money. So when the council chooses to approve or not approve, we will still continue as is with no change. If the council approves it, good. If the council doesn't approve it, then we'll continue as the way we are right now with the
No,
confidential.
I understand what you're trying to say. What you're trying to do, obviously, because you can transfer funds from one position to another position. But I mean, the thing is like, what I'm trying to get out of this conversation is that these type of things should be discussed like in January, because what we have in front of us as a council is that we have no more choice. Like, if we say no, the position is expected to go to a specific person because it was talked to us during this specific process. You know what I mean? potentially if we actually post the position for 10 days, we already know that's going to go to the confidential secretary because it's kind of like, watered out on the budget this way. And I think to be transparent, we should have it done like early on, not with the expectation that we're going to give it to a specific person, but with the expectation that we're going to post it and then probably increase that, that expertise within the department. And if that happened to be that is a confidential secretary, okay, fine, no problem. But in the way that it's been talked to us on the budget right now is like, you know what I mean? It's like next year, let's try to avoid that.
That's a question that a lot of departments have, and even, it might need to be addressed with the council and see what would your preference be. Would you like the department to comment and before the budget is presented and say, this is a position we would like to create, and we don't have the funding now, but the funding will be in next year's budget? I mean, that's something that the departments can work on to make sure we do it that way, if that's
I mean,
what your
but
preference
Ramona,
is.
we have done it that way before with
Right.
many positions. And it's like, you work it out before and because we literally need to create a new ordinance and do this and do that for this position that has been on the budget. If it is something that come up to us in January and it was denied, it wouldn't be here. If it is approved, it will be here with a specific cut and changes and probably potentially somebody that's going to start on July 1st. You know what I mean?
Yep. No,
That
we
the interview
realize
was
that
performed and
there's
it's
a
like-
time that will definitely need to happen, and there's a process that we need to exhaust, so that's definitely something that we understand, and that's the purpose. We're just trying to fund the position to make sure the money's there, and then if approved, then we can move forward, knowing that the budget can accommodate the funding.
If it is from another department, I will give you a break. But from this department, which is the lead department to guide us through this process, I need to push on that because this is the department that we expect this process, when it comes to creating position and stuff like that, to happen like ahead of time to show the other department this is how we get done. You know what I mean? It's like, that's why a little tough on you guys, but it's because of
And that's okay.
that's a
okay.
specific
But if there's no
situation.
money,
There's no money.
then there's no money. If there's
Yeah.
not, then there's no position. And it's a lot of work to work on a job description, to come before you at least 3 times. It's a lot of work. So if, it's like I was saying, if I'm gonna make a table, I need to make the legs first. If I don't have the money in order to fund the position, then why would I work on the rest of the rectangle?
Yeah, but I mean, what I'm saying is, through you, Madam Chair, is that you as a personnel director have to lead the other department by example, because if we get this situation on every department, it will be extremely difficult to even manage anything related to personnel. Because because we don't have the funds, we're not going to apply for it and stuff like that. It's like, I mean, let's change that thinking of, okay, it might not get approved, or the council might not like it, or if they like it, it's because let's put a little bit of pressure. Perhaps that's not what you guys doing, but I mean, it could be seen that way. I mean, I just want to make sure that we start the process accordingly, because we have done this before on other positions. It's like,
Before I was
on
here.
you.
Before I was here, just for the record's purposes.
All right, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President. Any other comments or questions? Council Marmo?
Given this conversation, when will you be projected to come before us to present the?
Once this budget season is done, I will be before you.
Okay.
I've already
I'm not
started
sure
working
if
on
it
the job
helps by-
description.
What was that?
I've already started working on the
Okay, I was
job
gonna say,
description.
I'm not sure if it helps trying to do that before.
I was gonna say,
budget
Well,
is
I
completed.
didn't want to bombard city council with all of this stuff on top of the budget, because it's a very, very busy time.
I
understand.
recommend, picking off of Council Marmo, I recommend putting that on the next city council agenda. Because
can be done.
regardless if it gets funded or not, the rate that the city, because people forget that the city of Lawrence is an employer. The way that this business company is growing because our city is growing in general rapidly. Eventually, this is something, whether it's funded now or not, that will be needed. So it's better to just get it in the books now. And if it's added, funded for next fiscal year, great, we have nothing else to do. And if it's not, at least it's there to attempt it again. So I think it's important regardless. So that's my recommendation.
I guess you'll be seeing me within the next couple weeks.
Get it on the agenda, yeah. I have a question, and this may be something that you're looking to give the assistant personnel director if it gets approved. We spoke a lot in previous years about systems, evaluation systems. Currently don't have any. Where are we with that? And I know last time, there's a lot going on, there's a lot of moving pieces. So have we, meaning you, been able to make any progress on that?
So I have looked into some onboarding processes and some recruitment processes as well. I just recently received the certification with the MMA HR, where I received a lot of resources, and one of the resources that I particularly asked for, one of the instructors were the PIPs. Now with PIPs, we have to take into consideration that that's something that may or may not, and that depends on the language that's in the CBA, may have to be impact bargained. So that's something that I have to look into, particularly with each and every single CBA, now that we're being fully integrated CBAs. So that is something that I am actively looking at, and I have requested from the instructors.
Okay. And
But with systems come money.
right,
They're
Right.
expensive.
right. But even, I mean, yeah, systems comes money. But we can get something. We can create something internally, at least to keep track of evaluations. I think it's important. I think year after year, you hear some of the counselors state, well, we're giving these raises, but where is the proof that the employees are actually up to par with what their responsibilities are, or what they're supposed to be doing? And every employer, at least in the private worlds, I'm not too familiar with the municipal worlds, but there is a 6-month period, a half a year evaluation, and the year evaluation. That is something that I feel like we need here in the city of Lawrence, because I still, and I'm going to repeat this, I have people that call me that say they called X, Y, and Z department, explain them the situation, and the person who answered doesn't know what they're talking about. That is a real situation here in our community, and we need to address that.
I think that part of the issue when we're discussing performance issues, it's and we did have this conversation at one of the recent department head meetings, is essentially keeping employees accountable. So if they're not performing up to par, please contact me first and foremost, so that we can look at the personnel file. Where are we on the progressive discipline? Did we start trying to remediate? Did we have an initial conversation with the employee? Hey, you've been late 3 times this month. Is there something else going on at home that we need to be made aware of? Or hey, are you just truthfully not understanding how Munis works? Let's get you some extra training, But it all starts with a conversation, and it starts with the department heads. The department heads need to keep their employees accountable as to their performance, and that is something that we did discuss literally in the last month's mayor's department head meeting.
Okay, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because there is a difference, and I'm not saying this to sound mean or anything like that, but there is a difference between when an employee should be let go because they're not performing as they should be, and where they should be given this or have these examples of employees being transferred to other departments, and you'll do a little bit, maybe that should have been the last opportunity for them. Again, and I say this because, again, this is an employer at the end of the day, and every employee should be held accountable. The city is trusting us, including the city council, to do a job, and that should be centric at all times, and that to Council President's point, that's why the HR department is very, very important, as you know, as the HR director. So again, I don't say this to be mean or anything, but I am trying to be realistic on more structure and processes and building that now, because the city, we're not decreasing. We're rapidly growing. And if we don't get a hold of it, our government is going to be out of everyone's hands, every single person. So, thank you. Any other comments or questions? You have Councilor Marmo.
Given the conversation that's transpiring right now, does your department have a system in place to address exactly what you're mentioning as examples?
So we use.
Like, do we have a list of employees that are on, I don't know, because I don't know what system we use, whether they're like code red, they're on their last strike, or you guys went from a verbal warning to a written warning. Like, what's the system that we use?
No, so we use the progressive discipline ladder, and that's across the organization. We recently, as of sometime during last spring, I believe it was, we had a Boston attorney come in and train all department heads as to the CBA. Different CBAs, this is what progressive discipline looks like, this is what we should be.
That's great.
We should be instituting. You know, what is a mediation? Okay, these are the employees that need mediation. Now, if you have a problem employee, as I call them, this is how we should be, let's, for lack of a better term, addressing that matter. So he did come in and he did perform that training. Now, in terms of a process, we have our personnel files. It would be virtually impossible for one person. Hence why we need an assistant director, right? Just putting that out there.
Nice advocacy.
It's only one person. There's over 600 employees. I can't possibly
Oversee everything?
oversee absolutely 600 employees. And again,
Understood.
not all 600 employees are within the same CBA. So we're stretched across at least 10 to 12 CBAs, right? So, and someone mentioned here, in one department, you can have multiple CBAs applying all at once. For example, the police department has the clerks, you have the superiors, you have the patrolmen. At any given time, you may be dealing with.
So each CBA holds the employees within that department
Their rights,
accountable.
That's correct.
They have their own version of what that would
That's
look
correct.
like.
They have just cause protections provisions. And each one, for example, I know that the principal accounts clerk or the clerk's CBA says that for tardiness and absenteeism, after a year, that has to get removed from their CBA, from their personnel file. But that may not be applicable to the superior officers.
Right, right.
So it's virtually impossible to, in my brain, to be able to say, okay, yes, for example, call taker at the police department has been late 5 times. Unless the department head is keeping me apprised, like, no, this is someone that we need to start focusing on, then really there is almost no process in place, because
Right.
if I don't know it, I don't see it,
Right.
unless I'm being made apprised of.
So there's a lot of discretion from the director of each department on whether they want to, if they want to take extra consideration on an employee.
Well, yes,
Okay.
whether it's extra consideration or I don't know.
And
So
by all
there-
means, I'm an employee myself. Like, so I hope my employers are like,
We get it.
it's making me question, am I under a CBA? Like, I would like to be part of a CBA. I don't want to ever get
Just cause
fired.
provisions are very important.
However, it make, as a counselor and kind of having to deal with the whole checks and balances and ensuring that we're hiring the right people in certain positions, it makes me question and wonder, what employees are really our beyond this whole CBA process. They're like literally at their last step, and we've exhausted all of our efforts to,
Well, if it's not in their personnel file, you have no just cause. If they're under a CBA, for the most part, if you have nothing in their personnel file, they have not been written up, not one time. There's,
see, but that's a lot of loopholes. I'm sorry. Like, I see so many loopholes with this system because, again, it's up to the director of each department. And if they are taking extra consideration on an employee, it just makes me see things where it's like, we're not accurately holding certain employees accountable. Then that's pretty much what I'm being illuminated right now with this information. I know that that's not what you're saying, but I'm seeing loopholes.
it's a possibility.
Yeah, I'm seeing loopholes with this whole CBA system, and it makes sense as to why there's certain complaints. Just putting it out there. I don't know. We need to do better.
And
We need to do better.
Unions are powerful under 150E.
Say that again. Say that again.
Unions are powerful under 150E.
And the non-unions?
Non-unions are at-will employees technically.
I know, but we have authority. We have more leeway. That's the proper terminology. There's more leeway on our end to cut our losses when an employee isn't are not held to a certain standard. You know what I mean? But it's up to us to vocalize that and hold those employees accountable. I get the union ones are super protected, so I'm unionized. I guess I don't have the CBA, but I'm unionized. I don't know. I again, it's like I see the need of us being able to do better, but I could also see how us doing better requires for each department head to do their part. And I mean, I understand how hard it is because as counselors, like I want to be all of your guys', I want to be all of your friends. I want to be your friend, your friend, your friend. I want to be nice to everybody. But then I also have to understand that I have a job to do. And sometimes being your friend doesn't always, it's not going to look like that when I'm on the other side of this table. It's like asking these questions or potentially, you know, you don't agree with something I decided. It's just,
They're
it
uncomfortable
becomes hard.
conversations.
But I can understand when you're working amongst your colleagues, it does become difficult because, you know, you guys go out maybe for lunch and after work you're meeting up. So I could see how lines could get blurred and, you know, those relationships that you guys are establishing with one another, you know, you don't want to necessarily see these employees go. But I think it has to get to a point where as department heads, you have to kind of think for your department before you're thinking about that relationship. That's it.
I think I echo that, and a lot of my comments, particularly when it comes to HR, throughout the years, majority stem from me. Majority of my career has been in cutthroat corporate environment. That they don't. Some of the things that I hear or have personally witnessed within just this building alone, I say to myself, if you were working in corporate, you would get fired on the spot. It's crazy some of the things that I've seen here. And again, and that's why I'm reiterating that we must remember that the city of Lawrence is an employer. And we need to drill that within the directors' minds. And obviously we have some obligations to respect and ensure that we follow when it comes to contracts, unions, and et cetera. But there are certain situations that they're just way beyond that should be looked at a little bit more serious. I'm not saying that you're not doing it. I'm saying our environment as a whole municipality, as an employer in general. And I'm sure you know that, and you are trying to do your best. I know you are. But I want to reiterate this publicly. And I know the HR position is not easy. So I do thank you for trying your best. I know you haven't had also the most easiest encounters with us because we do ask those tough questions and we get frustrated, and you know, as well as you do. But I think what we're talking about now, some of that stems from, I guess, ongoing patterns, I would say, right? But, yeah. Any other questions or comments for the Personnel Department? Seeing none, thank you. I think you might have been the last
you.
one, the last
I survived.
department. Yes.
But it's personnel, so.
You survived. So now that we have wrapped up the financial department, I want to say, I understand that we sometimes stress you guys out. I get it. It's not easy being in front of us. And sometimes we're not the friendliest. But I do want to say this department, year after year as a whole, is the most organized, one of the most informative. You guys know your departments in and out. And I know it's probably, you have some big shoes to fill, having the CAFO as your boss, but I do want to thank you because every year, as long as I've been chair at least, the beginning has been very good and easy. So thank you for always being prepared.
Madam Chair?
Yes. Council?
CAFO, I see some faces. I'm not sure if it's okay if there could be, because there's certain folks where we see you guys constantly, but I'm noted, yeah, I would like to have those that are kind of like silently behind you and are not as present to come before us in certain meetings, that they introduce themselves and tell me what's your position and what department you work for.
Good evening, honorable council members. My name is Lisa Jackson, and I'm the payroll director for the city of Lawrence, 200 Common Street. I'm very behind the scenes. I work alongside all departments, and I also work with the city, the Lawrence Public Schools, the fire department, the police departments. I work with all these departments because I'm usually helping with union contracts whenever we're doing negotiations, calculating retros with the CAFO. What can I say? Implementing time and attendance. I'm working alongside with the school department in order to have people clock in now. We're trying to get modern. At the end of the year, I work with W-2s, 1095Cs, some counselors that come over and ask questions about their W-2s.
Okay.
What else do I do? I do promotion, step increases, retirement deductions, everything that has to do with payroll, essentially. The reason being is I used to work alongside Donna Cole. I'm not sure if you remember her. So I was always behind the scene with her. She left August of '24, and I stepped in temporarily. And finally, a year later, I was made permanent.
All right.
And
Well,
that's
pleasure.
why, yeah.
No, I'm glad
Yeah.
you're interested. Like, I needed this.
Yeah.
To me, I'm hoping to create something where it's like, as a new counselor, I think it's important that they visit each department and understand how each department functions.
Yeah.
Because it's the only way that we kind of like, when we're making decisions, we understand, like, oh, okay, I know
Yeah.
what you do. So I appreciate you coming before us, introducing yourself, and it's a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I know there's somebody else behind I'm not familiar with. Yeah, you.
Oh,
I'm not familiar with her. You guys familiar?
You're not familiar with me?
No.
Really?
I'm really
You
bad.
live here in Lawrence? Well, my name is Francesca
Que no salgo de mi
Montes.
casa.
No sale de tu casa. Well, I know most
Oh,
everybody.
you're
knows
Francesca. Okay, the name.
Yes.
Oh, like I see your name,
Francesca.
but I'm like, I don't think I've ever like interacted with you.
No, no.
Do you go to the HR department?
No, thank God.
Yeah, you
Actually,
can
I
come
visit
visit, but formally, my
your
name
name
is
does seem familiar,
Francesca
okay.
Montes, and I am the confidential
Oh,
secretary for
The last name is
personnel
Montes?
director. Montes.
Okay, now it makes sense.
Ah, you
Everything's
see?
clicking. Doot, 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 doot. Okay, got it.
And I will not tell you everything that I do because she already said, like, we do magic in our department, pretty much.
Okay, so you're with personnel.
I'm with personnel.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
pleasure
Can I
meeting you
go?
again.
Because yes, nice meeting you.
By the way, and I know I said this last time I was at the HR department 2 weeks ago. The new office setup, I love it. I think it's so much better.
So
So
did you guys purposely wear
Yeah.
pink today? All three of you guys are wearing like this.
Well, Capo, this wraps up your division
you,
again.
guys.
Thank you to every single one of you, and this time I got you out of here before 8. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
You too.
Good
Capo,
night.
we're going to wait 2 minutes so people can, and
Aye,
we'll
please.
continue with the rest of the budget.
I'm going to ask John to do the.
No, we still have,
No, but I'm saying from the other departments, they're not in the
oh,
room
no,
right now.
no, we're done with the. Oh, because then. And we're not in recess, yeah. Do you need to use it, do you want a 2-minute recess? 2-minute recess?
Oh, 2 minutes.
Hold on. Huh? Motion to return from recess? Motion has been made, properly seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye, the ayes have it. Now, councilors, we are going to receive the full budget introduction from the CAFL. We wanted to get the city employees home first before diving into this presentation and these numbers. CAFL, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, honorable members. I would like you to turn your attention to either the screen or, no, that's fine. I have given you a printout as well, whatever works best for you. So I'm just going to give you an overall review of our expenses by function. These functions are the same across all municipalities. This is the way we break down our expenses. So we have general government. It's the same order as if you look at your budget book and the different tabs. These are the tabs within this function. So we have general government, which we review a lot of the departments that fall in that category today. It also includes the city council, the mayor's office, the OPD department, the city attorney, city clerk, and so forth. Public safety includes the police, the fire, ISD. Education is the school department and the charter school and school choice. Public works and facilities includes DPW and the cemetery. Human services is council on aging and veterans. Culture and recreation includes the recreation department and the library. Debt service shows the debt that the city and the school owes in terms of interest and principal for the money that we borrow. Intergovernmental, the different assessments that we have in miscellaneous includes expenses such as employee benefits, pension, and so forth. As you can see, from year to year, the difference between FY27 and FY26 is approximately $20,291,167 increase over FY26 budget. The biggest increase is within the education, which is Chapter 78, that comes from the state, that has a 4.7 increase over last year. If we go to the next page, I'm going to show you the same expenses, but with a different breakdown. This is by category. This will have it broken down between personal services, purchase of services, professional services, supplies, intergovernmental, other charges and expenses, capital outlay, debt service, and other uses. And it reports to school as an overall one line item within the budget.
So, I'm sorry, going back to the first one, proposed budget for this year, it has increased by 4.3%.
Correct.
All right, sorry, continue.
So again, this includes the same total for the FY27 budget. It's just shown differently in terms of the different categories that it covers. The other charges and expenses is one of our biggest line items, and that includes the employee benefits, including GIC, pension, and so forth. So that's our biggest expense. Okay, so if we go to the next slide. Oh, sorry. I'm the one that's supposed to be doing that. Here we go. So that is the expenditure by category. Our next slide, ooh, no, too quick. Our next slide shows the main 4 sections or breakdowns of our revenues. The first one.
Can we go back to the expenditures by category?
Yes.
I figured this is pretty lengthy. Just ask questions as we go. Capital outlay, I mean, it's not significant, but if you look at the percentage, it's significant. Why has that increased so much?
So it refers to the total of all departments, basically. Let's see.
Is a $376,000 increase from,
Yes, compared to last year.
yeah, which was at 134,000.
Yes, so that is exactly the exact increase within the police operations, and we will review the police department when it comes to that, but that is on page 69, and it's basically an increase in computer software within the police department. And we can provide you more details as to what the increase relates to in specific, but that is coming from the police operations.
Okay.
Okay, so we are moving on to the revenues. The revenues are broken down in four main sections or categories. First, we have the biggest increase, or the biggest, I should say, source of revenue for a municipality usually is the taxes and excise. So we have personal property tax as well as real estate taxes. The combination of these two is what we call tax levy, okay? And that is what the city taxes the taxpayers based on the tax levy that the city is receiving for revenues. Then we have the state revenue, which includes, the state revenue is broken down in your book on page 16. The biggest section of the state revenue is the school aid, which up to 78. But we also have charter school reimbursement and unrestricted general government aid. Local receipts are, as the name implies, are local. Basically, our biggest one is motor vehicle excise tax, and we also have meals taxes and hotel taxes. We also have fees and permits and charges for services within the local receipts. Other financing sources mainly includes the indirect costs that we receive from the 3 enterprise funds. So we charge a fee for the departments that provide services to the enterprise funds. Example, our payroll department cuts checks for the enterprise fund employees. The treasurer works with the bank for transactions within those enterprise funds. So we do have a formula to come up with indirect costs. So that is a portion of that. And the other big portion of that is $7 million related to the additional debt for the 2 new schools, the Oliver and the Leahy, as well as the police station.
So that's
Council
pretty
President?
much it. That's the water department, the parking as well.
Airport.
We charge them total of 7 million.
787,526.
Your mic was like,
My question was on regard to the other financial sources, and you said that the fee for the fee is charged to the enterprise accounts that are the water, the parking, and the airport. And we charge a total amount of $7.8 million.
That's correct.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so this page can be a little confusing for some people that might not be too familiar with how the levy is calculated. And I do have some definitions in the back, but I like to go over this page. So, actually, maybe I should go over the definitions too. I'll come back to this page. Let me just go over the definitions so that whoever's watching might have a little bit of a understanding of how things work. Proposition 2.5. This was adopted by Massachusetts voters in 1980, and it was implemented in 1982. It limits the amount of property taxes a community can raise each year. This revenue is called the tax levy. It does not apply to an individual tax bill. Some people might be under the understanding, oh, they can only go 2.5. Let me just get the calculator, and they get last year's taxes and this year's taxes, and they expect to see 2.5% increase. And that's not necessarily how it works. The calculation is a little more complicated than that. Tax levy is the amount a community can raise each year through real and personal property taxes. The total amount of the approved budget, so let's say in this case, the approved budget is hopefully 489,903,032, less revenues from local receipts. So you have to make it a little more clear, $489 million. We expect to get from local receipts, just get the exact number, 17,801,184. Okay, so we're gonna get that from local receipts, and we're gonna get so much from state aid. Whatever is left is the amount that we need to raise in taxes. That's, in simple terms, what the tax levy is. The levy limit is the maximum a community can levy in a given year. The levy limit can grow by 2.5% over last year's levy limit plus the new growth. Excess levy capacity is the difference between the levy limit and the amount of real and personal property taxes actually levied in a given year. For example, the city of Lawrence can levy, let's say, $2 million this year, just to give an example. If we only levy 1 million, you're gonna have 1 million left in excess levy capacity. For the last few years, we've left money on the table. We have not taxed the community to the max. Our excess levy capacity for FY27 right now is $13 million. Okay, so if the council or the administration chooses to tax more to pay for whatever the council approves, if the administration chooses to raise more taxes because we have a huge increase in health insurance, for example, they can do the 2.5, which is approved by law. We can do the new growth, which in this year is $1.5 million. And then we're gonna do 1 million more from the excess levy capacity to cover the additional cost in health insurance. That's how the excess levy capacity works. New growth. New growth is a calculation of the increase in property values due, not because the values went up, it's due to new construction, new buildings, an addition to your house, an exempt real property that was returned to the tax roll, a new subdivision parcel, a condominium conversion, or new equipment, just like the chief assessor talked about for one of the utility companies. New growth can be added to the city limit as defined by Prop 2.5, and it can increase the city's taxing capacity. So we do the 2.5 plus whatever the new growth is. So now I'm gonna go back to that other page, now that we have some of the terminologies under our belt. And here we go. The FY27 levy is calculated as follows. First, we have to start bringing forward last year's, or FY26 levy limit. Last year's levy limit was $105,858,890. That is our beginning. That is our 26th levy limit. We do 2.5% of that number, which equals $2,646,472. The new growth per the assessor's office was $1,507,680. That is our new levy limit, which is $110,013.42. Now, we take out the excess levy capacity. We're not using that. We take it out. It's included in the number originally, the exact number for the 2.5%. But it's excluded when we come up with the FY27 limit. The allowance for abatement and exemptions, and I just want to bring this up, Council President, because I remember during the tax recap review, that was a number that you probably didn't feel like it was clearly explained. But this is a number that we are showing. How did we come up with the $253,160? We used the average of the last 5 years per what has been reported to DOR. What is an allowance for abatement and exemption? It's an exemption that we have for veterans and elderly and blind. The city has adopted those exemptions to allow for that to be deducted from their taxes. We also have abatements when there is a review of a person's taxes, maybe the comparison that they used wasn't correct, and the taxpayers come, they file an application, and the assessor's department reviews it, and then if an abatement is granted, that's where that would be. So basically, we're saying out of the $110 million of levy, we assume that there will be some money that's not going to be collected due to exemptions or abatements. So for our FY27 levy, the number is $96,637,775. There is an increase compared to FY26 levy of $3,900,192. Any questions on this page?
Council President?
Well, obviously, based on the through you, Madam Chair, based on the explanation you give, two things that I want to talk about. You say that the levy limit is the total budget minus local receive minus state aid, right? Right? So basically, this year, the 2026.
That's the tax levy.
That's the tax levy.
Yep. So that's in that page, the 96 million.
Levy limit.
So the levy limit includes the excess levy capacity, which we're not using. So we deduct that. We deduct the allowance for abatements and exemptions. So our levy is the 96,637,775.
So within this formula right here, what is the tax levy in?
I'm sorry?
What is this formula they have in front? What is the tax levy? Local receive my.
So I want to bring your attention, I'm glad you brought that up. If you go to your budget book, page 14, on the second section of your budget book, it's taxes and excise. You will see personal property taxes, $9,488,209, and real estate taxes, $87,149,566. The sum of those two equal the $96,637,775,
Can
which
you
is
go
our
back to
levy.
page again? So now to follow you.
In the second section under taxes and excise,
Oh my God.
in the budget book.
Page 14.
Okay, so if you
Tax
look,
and excise?
right here, this second quadrant here, if you look at the first two line
It's not
items
My page 14.
on the budget book,
Yeah. On the page 14 on my detailed revenue on by source,
yes.
general fund.
Yes. So if you
So-
look at the taxes and excise section, the first line item is personal property tax
Yes.
and the real estate tax. So the sum of those two equals our tax levy, which is $96,637,775.
Okay. Got it. So going back to the presentation,
I know.
we got the 96 out here.
Okay, so going back.
Okay.
Can you ask them to put the presentation back? Here we go. Okay, so that's the definitions. We went over that. Thank you for that. Absolutely. We all need a refresher. All right, and I shared this with you last year. This is the equivalent of this year. The city of Lawrence, fine, but if you look on your, I can't, but if you look at, do you know where it is in the map?
Oh, we know what it is.
You know where it is, okay. So for the city of Lawrence, our maximum levy, as I showed you on a previous page, was 105,588. I'm sorry, 858,890, and the excess levy capacity was 13,121,307. So if you follow the color, the excess levy capacity percentage over maximum levy, the city is at 12%. So we are
Green.
one of the darker greens, not the darkest, but one of the darker greens. Because we are
second from
at
the bottom.
12.39%.
Second from the bottom.
So that shows that when compared with other municipalities, the city of Lawrence has a excess levy capacity that's probably higher than most of the cities within the Merrimack Valley and similar cities with similar populations and socioeconomic status. Okay. Next, we have our tax rate for the last 7 years, 6 years. As you can see, we have the fiscal year is the first column, and we have the residential tax rate per thousand, and then we have the commercial, industrial, and personal property column for the city. As you can see, the total assessed value for the city of Lawrence has significantly increased. It's gone from $5,251,039,912 to $8,987,132,220. The values of the properties, as you all know, has significantly increased over the last 6 years. Our tax rate for FY26 was $8.64 for residential and $18.06 for commercial. Okay, this is a page that the Division of Local Services from Department of Revenue shares for each municipality. If we find Lawrence, the city of Lawrence average single-family assessed value is $479,209. The income per capita is $21,419. The number of single-family parcels is 4,293, and the residential tax rate per thousand is $8.64.
Wait, the income per capita, 21,000.
Yeah.
Per person.
Okay.
That's actually the wrong though. This is actually wrong. There is no houses in Lawrence that pay that amount.
So the next slide shows if we were, because I want to show you how I came up with this calculation or how you could see it. As we reviewed the increase for the Prop 2.5 plus the new growth is $3,900,192. If you enter that number, first you select the municipality, the city of Lawrence, then you enter the amount to be calculated. So in this case, it's at $3.9 million. Then the system, based on our average single family value, and based on our tax rate, it calculates what the tax impact would be for someone that has a single family home that's an average of 479. But it gives you more detail in terms, for example, the average single family home, 479,000. The current bill is $4,000 or 4,140, and the increase estimated will be $172 for the year. The section on the bottom, it just shows different assessed values. If your house is assessed at $1 million and you currently pay $9,000 in taxes, the estimated tax bill impact would be $378 for a residential.
Madam Chair. So you the 3.9, you actually add the new growth together with the 2.5 prop. That's 3.9 or 4.1?
3.9.
3.9?
So if you go, what's going on? If you go to the, on the presentation,
Maria, excuse me one sec, Capo. Can you also let Mahia know that the transmission on my end on Zoom, it keeps,
yeah, I see it here.
you see it here,
Yeah.
like that. Can you? Like staticky? Yeah, staticky, pink, blue.
So if I may bring your attention to this page. This is the page that shows the levy calculation. Actually, I'm gonna go back. If you see on the very last number on the right side, it's the 3.9.
Okay, got it.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, so any questions before I move on to the next item is on,
Counselors?
under me?
Notice how I always look at Council President first, because there's only.
We're gonna have Ramona the whole time, so we can go back.
Lucky you,
Thank you, I appreciate your kindness. All right, excellent.
Difficult
So
to ask any other
presentation is done. You
departments.
can remove the presentation. We are done with that. We are moving to the debt service.
Okay, what page?
That is on page 141.
Okay.
Not paying attention. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so the debt service for FY27 is $14,919,772. I would like to bring your attention to the appendix that will give you a little more information. That is on page 168.
Appendix what?
I'm sorry?
Appendix, do you have a number on the appendix?
168,
Page 168.
yes.
I just wondering, because I'm taking notes on if the appendix have A, B, C, D.
Yes, no, the appendix has a number, page 168.
Okay.
Okay. So the 14 million that I just showed you on the debt service, page 141, it's also the same number that you will see, the very last number on this page. It's the sum of the principal and the interest for all the debt that we currently have. $7.6 million of principal and interest is related to the Leahy, the Oliver, and the police station. That
Give me
is,
1 second, let me just take that number. What was it? Can you repeat?
It says literally right there, principal and interest.
No, but I mean, she defined the three.
Right, so if you go through the list, for example, under the school section, you will see there are 2 loans for the Oliver School, and then you will see 2 loans for the Leahy. If you add the principal and interest for both of those schools, and you also add under the general government section, the second to last line item is the police station. If you add those 5 loans, the principal plus the interest equals $7,609,837. The city borrowed $132 million to cover $321 million worth of borrowing without debt exclusion or an override.
So, through you, Madam Chair,
Council President?
can you just repeat the number for the 3?
Yes, of course. $7,609,837, which relates to $132,355,000 worth of borrowing. For both the Leahy and the Oliver, we got reimbursed a percentage from the MSBA. For the police station, we have gotten reimbursement from DCAM. The police station total, it's $58,050,000. The Oliver, $147,800,000, and the Leahy, $115,740.
Councilors, any further questions or comments? Council Marmol.
Okay, so just to make sure that I am thrusting myself in understanding these debts, I'm looking at, so far I'm just looking at the last 2, the Leahy Elementary and the Oliver Partnership School. I'm seeing the original loan, and then I'm looking at what's outstanding. It doesn't look like much, so.
Yes, right.
So have we been making payments?
Usually, the first payment, it's all interest,
Okay.
which doesn't really affect the principal. Yeah, I'm sorry.
But
I know.
it looks like we're gonna be in debt forever.
Yeah.
All right, that's
And
why I
as
was
you
just
can
like making
see-
sure, like, I don't know if because there were newer loans.
Yep. So
compared to probably
we
the
borrowed
ones-
this money in August of last year, and the usually the first year only has principal, interest, and then after that, you have principal and interest. As you can see, for both the Leahy and the Oliver, we had 2 loans back in 2022 when we started the full construction. In 25 was just whatever was left. We just did the loan for both schools, whatever was left to borrow.
Yeah, I'm noticing those 2020, well, they're 2020, 2022 loans. There's a little difference compared to the last 2. All right, I didn't know that it was just going straight to interest. Do we know how much interest? Oh, let me see. We're seeing interest payment, but is this the balance of the interest for?
So that is how much we're going to pay next fiscal year for interest alone, just for next fiscal year.
Okay. But do we know what's the total, like, do we have a clue as to what the total interest would be?
Yeah, we do. We have amortization schedules. I'll be more than happy to share all of them with you.
Okay, so just bear with me. Because you're saying we're making payments right now the first year of these, I'm just gonna use these last two as examples. The loans from 2025. The first year is pretty much payments are made towards interest. How many let me see, how do I word this question?
So they're
What is
both,
the projection for how long we're
so
gonna
they're,
be paying
all
just
of
straight
these
into
are
interest?
30-year loans,
Uh-huh.
and we'll be paying,
Interest in like
So this-
for the next 5 years?
no, we'll be paying interest till the end of the borrowing. Yeah, you pay interest every year. Depending on how the amortization schedule was structured, you pay more interest towards the beginning or the end, depending on what the city chose to do at the time we
So we
borrowed.
don't know the structure of these loans now.
Yeah, we do. For this, these particular ones, we chose to, I actually have my note here. I had the treasurer help me with this. She's the one that deals mostly with debt. So the debt structure was smoothed out to aggregate the impact up front, meaning we wanted it to pay less money up front. So, our financial advisors do the loan payment based on whatever the city wants to do. You can have level debt, which means you pay the same debt every month or every year. But you can also choose level principal and just pay the same amount of principal. So it depends on what the city chose to do at the time we borrowed to accommodate our financial situation.
Okay. I'm all set, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right, Capo, you may continue.
Okay, so now we're moving to intergovernmental assessment. That is on page 143.
144?
3.
Huh?
143.
3. Okay.
Okay. And I'm sorry if I'm boring you with the same explanations as I did last year. You might be new to this and they might not understand how things work. So cherry sheet.
I'm hoping that the counselors whom aren't part of the Budget and Finance Committee are watching. I do recommend every year that they watch if they're available.
Yes. Okay, cherry sheet. It's an annual document from the state of Massachusetts, Department of Revenue, that outlines the estimated state aid as well as the assessments. We have various, submissions. So for example, the first one, the one that the city uses to base the budget, is the governor's cherry sheet. Then they have the governor's cherry sheet prepared or is submitted around January or February. That is the one we use because that's the one the first one that's available. Then we have different rations, the House, and then we have the Senate. We just received the Senate, I believe it was either over the weekend or today. We received the Senate version. And then the final one is the committee. So that will be the final one, which usually they cut or they add. Last year, unfortunately, they added extra assessment to the city of over $1 million for charter school assessment. So that wasn't very helpful for the city, but unfortunately, it was assessed in the final iteration. Why is it called the cherry sheet? When it first came out, it was just issued on a pink paper, and it just kept the name, even though we receive it electronically now, but we still call it the cherry sheet. Assessments are the financial obligations that the municipality owes, either the state or the region. So for example, a couple of weeks ago, I was here when the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission was here presenting a plan that they're planning on doing with the economic development. So that is the regional for the city. So the Essex County, there's 16 cities and towns within the Essex County, and that is the regional planning committee for the city. Okay, so let's go right into that. Page 143, the first one is, it's very general. It's called state assessment. Back in, I want to say maybe 14, 15 years ago, the state sent COLA reimbursements for non-contributory retirees to the amount of $1,978,000. When they caught up, they figured they had sent money to the city that were not supposed to be sent to the city, and then we had to pay it back. Thankfully, we were able to work up a payment plan with them, and with no interest, thankfully, to the city. And we have been paying starting in 2015. So we started paying $50,000 a year for 5 years. Then it moved up to $75,000 through 2024, and now from 2025 to 2029, we are paying $120,000 a year until we're fully paid off, which will happen in 2034. So that is what that state assessment.
34.
Okay.
Councilors, any questions or comments? Seeing none, let's continue.
So just to finish up with the intergovernmental, we have special education assessment, air pollution, regional transit authority, which is MEVA. Then we have the R&D surcharge, which they mark at the registry for non-payment of excise taxes or violations of marking. And then we also have the Merrimack regional planning for $36,000. So a total of the intergovernmental is $2,052,817.
Councilors, again, any questions or comments? Councilor Marmol.
My attention is on the special education assessment. Do you mind just tapping into this line item?
Absolutely.
And it's because I'm looking at the actual through May 6th, so I'm
Yep.
just wondering why the decrease?
So sometimes there's a delay in the assessment, so we might still be receiving another one within the next month or so. So we haven't finished the year. But basically, the special education assessment is to partially reimburse the state for providing special needs education to children enrolled in state hospital schools.
Okay.
So it's not 100%, it's just partial reimbursement to the state for what they're paying for these children.
Okay.
Is that Councilor?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. Next one is employee benefits, page 145. Okay, the first line item is the pension assessment. Per our last actuarial report dated January 2026, the city is currently 67% funded, and the unfunded actuarial liability, it's $196 million. Most of that is related to previous cost. Under the pension, we have the City of Lawrence, including the school. We also have the vocational school. We have the Lawrence Housing Authority, and then we have the Merrimack Valley Transportation. Everybody pays their own share based on the number of employees. And we get an assessment every year from the Public Employee Retirement Administration. For the City of Lawrence, this year it would be $10,939,207. Within the next section, we have unemployment compensation, level funded. We also have Medicare, which is 1.45% of wages, yes.
Council President.
Through you, Madam Chair, on the pension assessment, can you repeat again what
much we're
departments
funded?
are
Oh, sure.
included on there?
So
And-
this, it's only the city. The school pays their own. The vocational school pays their own. The Lawrence House, everybody pays their own. But this, we are all part of the City of Lawrence pension assessment. So when we receive the assessment from the administration, you will see City of Lawrence, City, school, vocational, housing, MIVA.
Can you repeat those ones that are together under the City of Lawrence umbrella?
So under the City of Lawrence, it will be the city and the school.
City and school.
And then part of the city, but not necessarily funding-wise, everybody funds their own, is the vocational school,
Vocational school.
Lawrence Housing Authority, and the Merrimack
Lawrence.
Valley Transit.
Lawrence Housing Authority.
So for example, for FY27, the total assessment was it was about $28 million. The city's portion is 10 million.
Okay, so is the transit MIBA only under the city's pension, the City of Lawrence pension, or they're employee of any other municipality that they serve?
I can probably tell by looking at, hold on. Because it shows the number of employees, that will give me an idea. I believe it's just the City of Lawrence.
Interesting.
Hold on.
I mean, if you don't have the answer today, I will see you tomorrow.
You mean,
What do you say?
Wednesday. That if you don't have the answer tonight, he will see you.
I'll see
He
you
said
tomorrow.
tomorrow, but
But tomorrow was-
he'll see you Wednesday
No,
again.
but tomorrow is here again too, the full council meeting.
But that
No,
has-
I don't have anything on the agenda for tomorrow.
No.
You won't see me tomorrow.
And even if she did,
Transit, I
we're,
know.
we're still
Yeah.
in the
I'll be
committee
happy to
level.
send you that info. Oh, here it is. I knew I had it. Okay. So, okay. So just to give you an idea, the governmental units, like I mentioned, City of Lawrence is about 89% of the total $27 million, but that includes the school as well. The vocational school is 5.57. Lawrence Housing Authority is 3.95, and the MIVA is 0.69. They don't give me the total employees, they only give the employees for the city, so I do not have MIVA's information here, other than the percentage and what they pay.
Right, can you go back and do a little bit of research when it comes to the
I can
transit?
reach out
Because
to-
I kind of like, if they're only under the City of Lawrence, potentially that's a situation that we need to look into it. But if they are between every municipality
Yeah,
that they serve, which is basically make more sense, because they're regional.
yep. I think you're right, but I will definitely check with the,
And also, I would
Yeah.
like to, so basically, if anybody that is under these funds, are they consider part of the, consider kind of like a city employee when it comes to the pension?
yes.
So the housing authority are,
City
okay.
employees.
Because there's always a confusion between, oh, I'm federal, oh, no, we are
Right.
state, oh, no,
Yeah,
we
it's very
are.
interesting because their funding is federal, but their pension,
It's
they're,
like,
they're under the
it's-
state.
They are
What if-
an authority that, they serve the City of Lawrence. But I mean, sometimes what I don't like is the game playing. Or sometimes they play this game and sometimes they play this game, but on the pension, they're the City of Lawrence employee. So I just want to make sure, put it up there. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you know why that's the case? Why the funding comes from the federal government, but the pension
So
part of it
for
is
the vouchers.
the vouchers?
The thing that they get for the people that get benefit.
Okay, thank you.
There you go. The answer for me.
What he said.
Okay, we move on. Medicare is 1.45% of the total wages. The Group Insurance Commission, that's a big one, not only for Lawrence, but literally across Massachusetts, if not the whole country. health insurance has increased significantly.
You mentioned that at the beginning of your introduction, that healthcare costs has risen for the
So I
city.
have it
What's
at
that?
11%.
11%, okay.
Compared to last year. And I know a lot of municipalities that are self-insured are struggling because some cities and some small towns out there may only get like $1 million from the tax levy. And if their health insurance went up $1 million, how are they going to make it? A lot of municipalities, I've been in different seminars and conferences with my counterparts, and everybody's struggling. A lot of cities and towns are getting overrides, a lot.
I believe.
$5 million, $10 million overrides, and it has to do, one, health insurance, two, schools.
I believe our closest neighbor, I believe the city of Methuen is self-insured. Is that, or no?
They might
Or
be. They
percentage.
might be. I'm
I
not sure.
was at an event with the mayor recently, and he was discussing something about the converting to the GIC.
Yes.
So I believe either a portion, they might not be fully self-funded, but I
So,
believe there's a portion. that
I
they
wasn't
are.
here, but when the city got in trouble, back in the days, a lot of that had to do with being
Financially, that's
financially in trouble. Self-insured
Yeah.
health insurance, very costly.
Yeah.
So now we are under
Now we're
the
under
GIC.
Yep.
And even though it has increased, I believe it's not as bad as other health insurance out there.
So what is you're saying 11%, but what is the actual dollar amount of that 11%?
So it's 1,793,000.
Yep, you did say that, yep. Sorry.
It's okay.
1.7 million, okay. And are we projecting, is there any projection, I mean, that's the cost, the increased cost at the moment, but that can change throughout the fiscal year. Are there any, do you have a
Guess is
forecast?
as good. I mean, anybody can be switching to a more costly plan. You can go from single to family, and it's just a lot of variations that could definitely have an impact on the total cost.
I just want to say actually, no, I'm good. Any other questions or comments?
Then we have group life insurance. We just had a meeting with our provider, and the city is happy to announce that we are providing a better package for our employees in terms of coverage and cost. The coverage used to be $2,000 for basic. Now it's increased to $10,000 basic life insurance, and also the additional life is a much better package, and it's costing less to the city and also less to the employees. So that's a plus right there. But the overall costs, we're keeping it level funded for now until we find out what people are signing up for it or not. But hopefully we can see a little bit of a savings there. It's not a lot, but that's a good thing. Dental, a little bit of an increase based on the claims that we've had from previous years. Under other uses, we have 3 of our reserves. I came before you a couple of weeks ago asking for money for these reserves, but we would like to build it up in our budget, even though it's only $100,000 each, but we have the reserve for ILD, injured in the line of duty. We also have the uncompensated absences and the workers' comp reserve. So that is what those 3 line items are.
Councilors, any questions or comments? Seeing none.
Moving on to risk management, and you had this question before, Councilor Infante. This is where we have on page 147, we have property insurance and also auto insurance.
City, well, I also asked earlier today about vehicles.
So under property insurance, we have our buildings. We have the city hall. We have the library, council on aging building. We have the cemetery. We don't have the airport. The airport pays for it. The water sewer property they pay for it. And everything else, the DPW yard, the city pays for it. The school pays for their own property insurance for all the schools that they have, they pay for that. And under auto insurance, we do have 318 vehicles at the moment. That does not include the school or the enterprise funds.
How many of these 318 vehicles are take-home vehicles?
I think I sent you that report not long ago. Marlon, do you know how many? We can get you that because I do have that report. I don't have the number of vehicles per se, but I do have a report by department that shows the take-home vehicles.
Question.
Marlene's going to help us with that.
Councilor Marmol, we'll go this way this time.
I also wanted to say,
Council President.
the auto insurance, we have established in collaboration with our insurance company and personnel department to try to reduce our claims. We are offering employee safe driving lessons. We
Do we
are
have-
offering that.
Do we have GPSs in our take-home vehicles, or actually city vehicles on the 318 vehicles?
I would assume we do, but I do not know the answer to that, so I have to confirm.
No, we don't.
We don't?
We don't.
The IT director just told me we don't.
No,
No, we don't.
we don't.
We don't have GPS, but I am in talk with DPW to make it happen.
Okay, so because he's not on the microphone, the IT director just came out from the back. He's helping us with IT stuff in the back, but just stated that we currently do not have, for the people watching at home, do not have GPSs on the 318 city vehicles. However, there are conversations between the IT and DPW department to make that happen. Council President.
Yes, through you, Madam Chair. So last year questions was around the following. The state have a policy that do not allow people to take vehicles out of state, only under the special circumstances. And my questions to you was last year that if we can convert our policy to have that specifically, due to the fact that that will reduce the amount of potential claims with uninsured vehicles that are New Hampshire, as you know, they not necessarily have to have insurance.
Yep.
And I believe that you sent me an email on that during the last budget season, but this year I see $100,000 increase. So what is it that?
So it's a combination of adding new vehicles, and also I do have to say our claims have somewhat reduced. And we are working with Hub International, who's our insurance company, and they have provided the possibility of having a training for drivers within the city. And it's my understanding we already had our first class a couple of months ago. Personnel department was able to handle that, and we will continue to do that. And we are keeping track of the claims and the drivers. And we are working currently with the personnel department to update our current auto vehicle policy.
Yeah, that was
So-
going to be my next question. So for how long we haven't updated that policy when it comes to take home vehicles?
Yeah. So we are working on that. And also the administration sent an email, I want to say maybe 2 weeks ago, for all employees, especially department heads that do take vehicles home due to the increase in the cost of gas, to not take vehicles home if they don't have to, and park it in, maybe Buckley or the yard or whatever it may be, to save on the cost of gasoline. Because sometimes you have like an on-call inspector or an on-call foreman and that needs to be on call. So those people will need to have a city vehicle in case they're called for an emergency or whatever, a property emergency or what have you. And maybe those people will need to take the vehicle home. But otherwise, the instruction is to not take vehicles home unless they have to due to being on call, and park it, in one of our buildings to save on gasoline.
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair. And my question is around if any of those vehicles, because we are 6.7 square mile city. The policy should be something around potentially if you leave anywhere, passing the 10 miles, you're not allowed to take your vehicle home. You should park it here because if an emergency happen, that emergency, you have to come to the city anyway. And the only safe time that you're gonna have is going from point A as soon as you cross the border in Lawrence to the emergency instead of going to a specific site that you can pick up the vehicle there, drop off the other one, and go to your emergency. So the saving here is more like around timing, perhaps. And if it is such an emergency, the police department, the firefighter will respond first. Other than that, any other emergency might be able to, potentially water departments, also a department that should be a little bit more flexible because those emergencies might affect people in their houses and stuff. But other than that, I don't see other departments that, those emergencies cannot wait for 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Because if the emergency happened within the city, it is within the city, different than having an employee that lives 30, 40 miles away and is taking a vehicle. I mean, it is a tremendous amount of money that the city is investing when somebody that is more local can do the same job potentially, or perhaps that vehicle can stay somewhere close within the city of Lawrence.
Okay. I have to get that list back. I have to regroup and get that list to you of the list of take-home vehicles.
Okay.
Yep.
Council President.
So following up on last year's question will be, do you look into potentially negotiating with the current insurance company that we have, or do we get any other quote from another company that might simulate something that we have right now with the new policy, or that was something that we just talked and that's it?
It's my understanding that we did follow up with the insurance company, and I mean, we can ask to see if there's another carrier that would help with that. But again, we are in the process of updating the policy on take-home vehicles, as well as the employee handbook, which would have some things that they might interrelate between the two. But we're working on that
All right. I'll see you on Thursday.
actively. What did you say?
I'll see you
Thursday.
Thursday.
Oh, God.
I mean, think about it.
like, okay.
You can say whatever, but I'm gonna still see.
I'm gonna keep questioning. Council
Right.
Marmol.
No, my line of questioning was pretty similar. Like the first thing that caught my attention was hearing the insurance and whatnot, and you said the word claim. So I'm like, how many claims do we have? Like, how many accidents do we have on file? So I'm not sure if that's information that I'm pretty sure we should have it.
We do.
So if that's something
We
that
do.
could also be provided with the list of
Take-home vehicles.
the take-home
For
vehicles.
Thursday. I mean, no, for Wednesday. For Wednesday, we meet again on Wednesday.
But here, like, I feel like my biggest issue is the discretion part of it. So you mentioned that there was an email that went out kind of asking employees if it's not necessary to please park it at the garage.
No, it was pretty much,
Oh, it was
if you're not
mandatory?
on call, don't take the car home.
And then, okay, so then who oversees that these employees are actually following through with that? Because, considering that we pay for the gas, right? So when it comes to filling up the tank, to drive these vehicles, we're covering those costs, correct?
Yes.
So I'm just like, okay, I see an email where I know I'm being told to do X, Y,
So
and Z, but
this is a clear direction from the administration to the
Okay.
department heads.
this is effective immediately, like when
Oh,
this
yes,
email went out
effective
2 weeks
immediately.
ago? Okay.
Yes,
All right.
So does this also pertain to department heads who have vehicles?
Yes.
Take-home vehicles?
yes,
All across the board?
yes.
So how many, I don't know if that's like, how many positions of these 318 are on call? Or is it on?
Oh, I don't know, but I can tell you how many vehicles we have that are taken home. I can give you that,
I wa-
absolutely.
yeah, I think I
Yeah,
want
we
that
have that.
too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So that's two different questions, though, what you just said to me?
Because you're asking take-home vehicle.
Uh-huh.
It's not necessarily on call,
same.
right?
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like, for example, well, Carlos is always on call, unfortunately. He doesn't really have backup. But for example, I want to say, let's say ISD, perfect example, right?
Okay.
They have an inspector that's on call every weekend, right? So out of 15 people, only one is on call. So only one has a take-home vehicle. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
So let's say the foreman within DPW, they rotate as to who is on call, right? So only they take the on-call personnel or foreman, I forget whatever title they might be, it's the one that can take the vehicle under these new instructions.
Okay. Is it feasible to also ask how many of those take-home vehicles are out-of-state residency for, like, how am I wording it? How many of the take-home vehicles are employees who reside out of state?
Okay.
So not asking for anyone specific.
Outside of the city?
Say that again?
Out of the city.
Or out of the city, but it's, yeah. No, because you mentioned out of
Out
state,
of
which
state,
that
right.
brings a concern. But there's not many folks that potentially live in Methuen, and we're not equating the gravity of a situation the same way as if they would lived in New Hampshire.
Well, that also goes back to, can we bring Carlos back out here, please?
Well,
Yeah, he
so-
lives, no, I just have, I'm sorry, you have, just stay there. After Council Marmol finishes, I have a question for you.
No, I think I'm done. I hope the Madam Clerk was able to catch everything that we're like requesting. This is a pretty heavy item.
Okay, so,
So the last question, if I understand your question correctly, is out of state.
I was thinking more.
Yeah.
I was
out of
thinking more
city
out of
and in
state.
the city, right? Those three? Out of state, out of city, and out
and
of.
in city, let's
in
get
the
all
city?
three, all
In-
three,
Those
all
three?
three
In the
numbers.
city, you don't need in the city
I mean,
because you already
just
know
wanted
the
to get it.
balance.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay,
but
so let me just recap, okay?
I know for me, I wanted to know out of
You
state.
want to know
I want to know all three.
information on claims, right? How many
claims,
claims you have, so we can get that from our insurance company. A total of take-home vehicles, right? Out of state and out of the city,
And in city.
and in city.
They-
Wouldn't that be the, everybody
That's
that's
what I
left?
said.
Yeah, but just to have it, yeah.
Sure. Do you have a question?
Yes, so going back, Director Castillo, going back to the conversation that you mentioned about GPSs in vehicles, this is pertaining to all 318 vehicles, not just the DPW department?
That's kind of all the vehicles that city owns.
Okay.
In the past, they used to have GPS. The cost for each GPS is around $17 a month. But at some point, something fell under the crack that the contract just got canceled. Now let's say for instance, the cruisers, the police cruisers, they used to have it. They have, some of them still have it, but they're not functioning anymore. So the device is completely done. So it's end of life. It doesn't work anymore. So I'm in the talk with DPW and see, if this is something that they want to bring back. $17 per car. That's how much it's going to cost.
But here's the thing, it's not, I don't believe it's a matter of whether they want to or not. These are city vehicles that we're paying thousands of dollars of insurance for. And if we're talking about, I mean, kudos to the administration for putting some authority on this about reducing the usage of take-home vehicles. But if employees know that there are GPSs in their, which is why I want to know how many employees live in the city of Lawrence, because if you're using the vehicle for personal usage, guess what's going to capture that? The GPSs. So once they know it's there, they won't be using it like that, which then is a domino effect. It reduces the cost of our gas. It reduces potential claims as well. So there is a reason why, at least this counselor, I want to know even the in-city take-home employees. And I don't believe this is a matter whether they want to or not. This is city-owned property that should be held accountable, that we should know where they're at all times. And if, God forbid, something major happens, we should also be able to have that data if needed. And I'm going to bring this up to the mayor. I think this is really important, and I think this is something that he should be thinking about as well.
Yeah, and like I said, we have the costs. It's not gonna be more than
Right,
$17.
right.
So now we
Right.
can kind of say, hey, this is how much we're gonna spend on a monthly basis per car. And one of the benefits, right, of that GPS is that there's 1.2 minute delay. So it gives you like a live tracking. So if there is, let's say, if a car gets stolen or something like that, right, it gives us that visibility where the car is.
So 17 times 318 amounts to $5,406. So where do you?
78, about 78,000.
A year, okay, so where would this, if we were to install GPSs on all 318, where would this money come out of? The IT department.
Well, we can create, we can create an account for it. We can create an account for it. With the CAFO's help, she's always supportive on this type of stuff and keeping everything organized as it should.
So I'm thinking, right? There should be a savings in gasoline expense, right? So we can just do a transfer from gasoline expense from the various departments to the new account for the GPS tracking.
I agree. Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other further questions? Councilor, I saw Council President first.
I have to ask you,
Councilor Marmo.
since you brought it up, hold on, oh my God, I'm losing my train of thought. Espérate. Hold on, I don't know why I'm forgetting.
All right, so
No, wait, time out. I just literally had it. Okay, you said, I don't know, my brain is fried. You said at some point the vehicles did have GPS.
Yes.
When were they removed? Do you remember? Was it
No,
what time?
I don't remember. I don't have that data.
Okay, so it wasn't in the last 2 to 3 years. It's been
Maybe 4 years or something like that. That's basically, I think, around where it started, when I started working for the city.
okay.
So, I have another question, Council President.
So as far as I remember, information that we have is that the city need to negotiate the situation with the unions, and the union need to agree if that's part of their contractual obligations that they might take, and also the entire city, we haven't been able to have the entire city or all the city owns vehicles under this policy. So there's always something in between. So we need to kind of like, if we're going to go back and look into that, we need to put that on the radar because, many different portions need to be moved along the same direction to be able to accomplish it.
Yeah. What we can do is, right, as the first batch, we can do the ones that doesn't have to deal with the union. Right, we can just do those vehicles firsthand, and then we can start, once we find the legality part of it with the union, that part, then we do those at a later time.
Well, okay, so I understand. So this is where I guess my confusing, and it's something that I could, I guess, ask SEIU about, but I am sure that the union has employees. We know, not I'm sure, we know. They have employees that work for the state, et cetera. Those vehicles are protected. So why would it be an issue for a municipality? Well, and I understand that negotiations, you never know how they're gonna go, which is where a potential conflict, I should say, or disagreement may occur. But I just don't see, it's not employee property. It's City of Lawrence property. And to me, this is very black and white, but I understand that negotiations are not black and white. So that's one thing. But secondly, I want to go back. The reason why I asked where the funding for this would come from is because you originally stated you were in talks with DPW. Not all 318 vehicles are just from the DPW department. So why is it specifically being negotiated with DPW?
If I may, I think
We have a fleet department within
Got it,
DPW,
okay,
and
I
they're
did forget
usually
about that,
yeah.
yep, thank you for the reminder, thank you. Another thing is, Kafo, you mentioned driving training that the insurance company has started to provide.
Yes.
It's great, I think that's great. But going back to my comment during the HR department discussion is, at one point, do we hold employees actually accountable? So
Well, that's exactly it. I brought this up because we do have a meeting with our insurance company every year where we review the various options that they, offer to us at the city. Obviously, we want to be, careful with how we spend the money. We always try to have the best coverage for the best price. And in the past, the fact that we've had claims does not help our attractiveness with other insurance companies. So we brought that up with them, and they offer that. They said, well, the company can actually provide a class, and what we're trying to do is whoever has an accident, whether it's their fault or not, the intent is for that person to know that they will have to go to driving school or go to this class.
So what happens if, let's say, parking attendant, I'm sorry, traffic control employee Giovanni Rodriguez. We're gonna use him as an example. No, I'm kidding. All right, let's say. I'm kidding. But anyways, on all seriousness, say an employee gets into a car accident, at fault or not. They go through this class, but then there's a pattern there's a repeated
Right.
pattern. So what
So-
happens then?
So that's where the vehicle policy, it comes into play. What are the steps that the city personnel department or the department head, what are the next steps for us to take if this is a repeat offender?
Okay.
And then we take it from there. It might, it might elevate to the next discipline.
Okay. All right, thank you. Or discipline, or maybe perhaps, I think that
Termination.
might, termination, or even if this is a good employee, but for some reason, the driving.
can't drive anymore.
Maybe let's figure out another area
Right.
within that department that they
Right.
may be better suited for. Okay,
Right.
so there'll be different actions
Yes,
for different levels.
exactly.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you have to analyze a situation,
Right, on a case by case
a case
and
by
all of
case
that.
basis.
Yep.
Exactly.
All right, any other questions or comments? Seeing
All right.
none, I think
The
we have
last
one more.
one, if I may
Is
draw your
other
attention
financing uses.
to page 149. And this is a good introduction of an item that I have on the agenda for the next council meeting. This relates to an item you might be familiar with, which we call it Capital Reserve Fund, or we also call it PAYGO Capital. So for Chapter 50A, Section 9 of the Acts of 2010, which is what was created to provide a financial stability for the city of Lawrence when we has some financial difficulty. The city shall establish a capital reserve fund into which the city will appropriate each fiscal year at least 1.5 of the amount of property taxes committed. If I may bring you back to one of the slides I showed you, it will be the $92 million that was last year's levy. So what we do is we take last year's levy and we do 1.5%. So that's the math, the calculation on how we come up with that. So the FY27 capital reserve or PAYGO capital, it's $1,391,064. For last year, it was $1,325,743, and we will be coming before you to present various projects to use that money for.
Councilors, any questions or comments? Seeing none, I think that wraps up this portion, day one.
Day one done.
Done. And before 10. Council, thank you so much. Before I ask for a motion to recess. Motion to recess? I said before I asked. I just want to go over our next hearing is on Wednesday, June 3rd at 6 p.m. And on Wednesday, we will hear from the City Attorney's Office, the City Clerk's Division, which is made up of the City Clerk's Office, Elections, and Vital Stats and Annual Listing. We will also hear from the Health and Human Services Division, which includes Council on Aging, Veterans Office, and Recreation. And we will hear from our Public Safety Departments, Police, and Fire. So thank you so much, councilors. We'll see you tomorrow for the full council meeting, but I will see you Wednesday again for day 2. Can I have a motion to recess?
Motion to recess.
Motion has been made by the Vice Chair, seconded by Council President. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Thank you so much.